Well, it was on you, but I'm gonna switch over to us because there's two of us here.
Bienvenido, compadre.
It looks a little cooler over here with the two guys.
Armand's wearing a hat. I didn't wear my hat today.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I know.
Role reversal.
I know.
You always have a hat.
I didn't used to, but then I just got in the habit and
You became that guy.
hat guy.
I'm Nick today.
Yeah, you look
How's
good.
it feel?
It's even on backwards.
Yeah, you look good. You look fresh. You look younger.
I don't know. The hat thing, I'm not sure about it. Sometimes I'm a hat guy, sometimes I'm not.
You feel sophomoric wearing a hat?
Depends on the setting. But yeah, it can be.
I want to know what superpower do you feel like you're like newly entrusted with as you have embodied Nick?
I mean, I see numbers on a screen. They're going in different directions, but they all make sense.
Oh. All right, everyone. Welcome to the Alfalfa podcast. We are live on YouTube like we are every Wednesday. We got Eric, Armand, I'm Nick. Steven is out today with a last-minute thing. We miss you, Steven. Come back soon. Yeah, you can... what's up to everyone in the chat? I see the room filling up. Dan. Who else we got? R2 Guate.
Yeah.
Corby in there.
Everybody?
What's up, everybody? Yeah, like the video if you haven't already, and you can help the pod out a few different ways. You can share this episode with a friend if you find it fun. You can check out the Discord at alfalfapod.com. You can check out the digital collectibles at pods.media/alfalfa. And you can donate via the super chat on YouTube if you like, and your comment will go somewhere here on the screen. And if you're just listening, you can come over to YouTube and subscribe and watch us live every Wednesday or at your convenience afterwards. All right, boys.
Well, that's good.
What are we drinking? We have a potpourri today.
Potpourri.
Everyone's kind of going their
Potpourri,
their own
choose
road.
from the bar, choose your own adventure.
Yeah. What'd you choose?
I made myself an old fashioned.
Oh, as you do.
Wow.
I meant to call out what bourbon it was. Do you remember the name? Long Branch or something?
Oh, we drank it last
Yeah.
week.
What is that?
I forgot. It's good. It's tasty.
Okay, so it's what you guys said last week.
Yeah.
I'm on the mezcals.
Oh, okay. I took the same route.
Yeah.
I'll be switching to the mezcals.
Okay.
Nick went and got a water. That was kind of water.
Just in case, I had a little long night last night. We took the team out to dinner. Beverages were consumed.
Oh yeah.
No, a bit of a bendy bender.
No.
Well,
Oh, because we went to a wedding.
From a wedding.
Yeah, all three of us. We're the wedding boys.
Wedding boys.
Yeah.
Wait, we gotta have a wedding recap.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so
No.
we just got back from Maui.
None of us got married.
None of us got married.
Just to be clear.
Our other boy, Nick,
Other
got
Nick.
married. Other
Nick M.
got married. It was a beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous wedding on the coast in Maui and Wailea. We stayed at the Grand Wailea. Great spot. Beautiful wedding venue. It was awesome.
Dude, the beach there is super unique. Like, the temperature is nice. I mean, maybe it's time of the year, but it wasn't humid. Usually around beach time, sunset, you get like mosquitoes and bugs around. Super clean beach.
No bugs.
No mosquitoes.
No seaweed.
Yeah.
How about this sea turtles swimming by you as
Wait,
you're like?
Steven's calling me. Should I pick up?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's he doing?
Hello, sir.
Do you want to be on air? You want to be on air on the phone? 'Cause I'm putting
Oh.
the camera on you.
Okay.
Calling
Like
us
they're
to
off?
a technical problem.
Oh shit.
Oh, thank you, Stephen.
Oh. Okay.
I see video.
Thank you for calling and. All right, I'll figure it out.
Ask him if he wants to say anything to this.
Stephen, would you like to say
All right,
anything
thank you.
to the podcast people?
No, he didn't.
Okay. What happened? Are we good?
I don't know.
What did
mic is that?
Steven say
Can
what
I-
the issue
can I-
was?
I don't know. Check the
Talk?
chat. The chat is letting us know.
Can I talk? Oh, is audio messed up? Is it quiet? Is the sound off? Audio issue. Oh my god.
SOS.
Oh, it's a full-blown alert. Techno chaos. Yeah.
You're muted.
Oh.
Isn't that one? Is that one dial maybe? That one dial on top left.
No, that's for the mics.
What's it doing?
I just muted that mic just in case.
Mics are low.
Mics are low.
Is it near or is it pretty quiet? Sound is off. Techno Kings.
What the hell? Dude?
Lines to the rescue.
Are they muted?
No.
It shows audio coming through.
Yeah. Oh wow. That's really bad.
Is it? It literally sounds like
We're in the distance.
we're in the distance, yeah. Like as if there's one random
it-
mic in the distance.
Is it like going from the laptop mic or something?
Oh, yeah. Check the audio source, man.
It's fine.
We did a sound test. Should I play some music with my mouth?
Yeah, do a beatbox. Sound like a beatbox.
So this is interesting, Nick. When you're talking near the road, it's like louder.
Because it's probably the mic, the laptop mic.
I'm just gonna keep listening and talking. See what it fixes. Yeah,
Techno
barely
Kings. Techno Kings.
It's totally the laptop mic. Restart stream?
Can't do that.
Okay. Yeah, dude, every time you talk, Nick, it's like very clear and loud. It's literally like it's coming from wow.
Setting girl normal, huh? Yeah, we wouldn't have changed anything.
This is one of the worst. Feature's asking about refunds. Refund policy. Should I chat GPT it real quick?
Sure.
What is a podcast refund policy? You know who's been really good at chat GPT lately is Marty. Marty should chat GPT a refund policy. Eric looks deep in thought. Eric, where's Eric looking right now?
Thinking that I gave up Padres tickets for this.
I also gave up Padres tickets for this. See, Steven, when you leave us, this is what happens. Okay.
Wow. No changes.
Yeah, it's the same road.
Does it get lower?
Music.
In your butt.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Sound changing again? I'm out of the live box. Fuck. I think I need to restart.
What would that do then?
Default. What if you select Black Magic? Audio should be going to Black Magic.
No.
No.
The mics go into the road. The road goes in the
Yeah.
laptop.
Rock said now it's nothing.
Well,
Whatever
because
it
I've
is.
been playing it back and forth. Okay.
I think we stop, we do a test. If it's good, then we restart. That's the only option we have.
How are you gonna test
I
it?
don't
though?
think you restart.
No, because it kills the whole thing. We have to recreate a new video.
Yeah. Well.
Oh, it's
we
back.
can't- What?
Wait, what? Hello? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Let us know if this sounds any better.
Who said it's back?
I think it was only back because you were talking right next to the laptop.
It's back now. Oh, he probably
Yeah.
means like some audio is back, not that the mics are on. Fuck. This is a lot of pressure, Nicholas.
Yeah, in real time.
Should I just keep doing the butt swing?
Yeah, keep the people entertained.
Should I do a triflex?
It's the road, and then I don't know what the road would do.
Oh, hold on.
Shitty audio is bad, not good audio. Any driver? Driver setting?
So this is just
What if I reseed?
reseat everything.
That's a great idea. Just audio only.
Audio only. I'll do the
Minute.
mics.
What if we restart the road? Does that kill the stream?
I don't know.
No, I don't think so. It's just audio.
I think it might kill everything.
Okay, audio just stops. Oh!
No.
Yeah. Yeah. My mic's on. No, I don't think so. It's just audio. My mic's on. But it was before you
Before I even.
muted
Test,
me,
test,
and then
test.
I'm gone now.
Okay, audio just stops. Oh, yeah.
We're back.
My mic's on.
Fuck.
Mic's on.
But are we back?
Yeah.
Okay, we're back.
Sit down, Eric.
Sit down.
Sit down.
Okay, let me see if I can hear you guys.
You know what's crazy is like we didn't do anything.
You just unplug it, plug it back in.
But Armand said that it got back before I
We're back.
unplugged.
I just-
No, I
back.
unplugged it. Plugged it back in.
So it was the seating of the cord
Okay.
in the plug.
I just honestly did that so you guys could see my butt.
Yeah.
I just wanted a little butt show.
It's funny. Most of
now
the
you owe. Now Feach now.
I just want people to
now-
understand where my BMI comes from. It's just
Certainly
this is
not your
a
calves.
random. This is not a random thing, you know. It's just
most things we fix by unplugging and plugging back in. It's
wait. What is Pacino? What's the line?
I don't know.
Let me see that ass.
What is that
The
from?
Pacino scene about ass.
Oh, I have no idea.
You haven't seen the Pacino scene about ass? I'm playing that.
What movie is it from?
Because we need something. We got to mix this up. Hold on, Pacino.
Dan Simmons that says
She got
that,
an
that was
ass.
a long con just so you could
Just
show off
the
your
ass.
squat.
Oh my
Squats.
God, you got a great ass.
Okay,
All right,
hold on.
switch. the
camera
screen.
3.
You can't go in there.
Watch this.
Excuse me, that.
Tim, I gotta call you
wait,
back.
wait, you have to have an appointment.
Can I help you?
Are you Alan Marciano?
Yeah, and who the fuck are you?
How am I?
Hey!
Lieutenant Vincent Hanna, LAPD.
L.A., this is Las Vegas. You don't even have jurisdiction here. Hey! Hey, I don't know who the fuck you guys think you're
What
pushing
movie is
around, but I know people here, okay?
Las
playing the
Vegas
whole movie?
PD takes you into custody. You are extradited to Newark on a New Jersey warrant for smuggling cigarettes up from North Carolina 3 years ago, or you go to work for us.
It's worth it. It's worth
Cut and dried. That is it.
Oh, shit.
Charlene Shaharless.
Who?
Who? Who? Who, you fucking owl?
The lady you've been talking dirty to on the telephone every day last week.
Yeah, all right. You know what? You can't tie me to her.
Well, who needs to? Because your ass is on a plane back to New Jersey, Jagoff.
Jag
it.
off.
Jag off.
Why'd I get mixed up with that bitch?
Because she got a great ass. And you got your head all the way up it.
How did you memorize this line?
Yeah,
All the
kill it.
things.
Think of
This
ass.
is what I do.
Woman's
Armand is
ass.
still playing.
This is a skill.
Okay, that was Hank Azaria, and I'm a big fan. I hung out with him at a Charger game one day. He was back in my days of escorting celebrities and high rollers around the Charger Stadium. He was one of my guys. He was
VIP guy.
He's awesome.
Oh.
Hank Azaria.
I just think to
favorite.
myself, how many times he practiced that scene. Like, he must have sat in the mirror preparing for this scene. Like, his eyes just bulged.
Like he knew.
He knew it was like a cult classic moment scene.
I don't even know what movie this is.
This is great ass.
It's from Heat. It's
Heat?
from Heat. I've never seen Heat.
Oh, Heat is phenomenal.
Everyone.
That's from Heat.
I've actually
Yeah.
heard.
I know Heat very well.
Heat is Val Kilmer. De Niro's the main counterpart, but Val Kilmer as well. Heat, you know Heat.
Yeah, best technically sound shootout scene in all of the movies.
Generally, one of the most underrated mob movies, like police kind of, gangster movies ever. I almost played it on the plane.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah, everyone tells
Almost.
me Heat's good. I would also like to say Hank Azaria does a great job in a supporting role.
Yeah? Yeah. Well, there you go.
Okay.
Just a little ass. Okay. We're here now. What were we talking about?
We were talking about Hawaii.
Hawaii was great.
Yep.
We went to Maui. Our friend Nick M. got married. We drank too much. We partied.
We didn't have like
We hung out
the
with the
classic
turtles.
like Mai Tais or pina coladas though.
I had some Mai Tais.
We did. Okay.
Yeah, but I said, can I have a skinny Mai Tai to the bartender?
Yeah, the bartender gave you a good.
No,
eye
he
roll.
liked it. He
Yeah.
liked it. He was like, yeah, there's a lot of shit in here. I'll get all the shit out for you. He liked it. You had one.
Straight
You had
rum,
one.
huh?
Yeah,
Did I?
Yeah, you had one with me.
No, I might have just been rolling
Yeah.
at that point. Just keep them coming.
It was a good trip.
How do you guys feel about? We were on Maui at the Grand Wailea. How do you feel about like one of those resorts?
Not a fan.
Because I'm a guy who likes to.
Not for me.
I like to get out and explore a little bit.
Yeah,
And
you
I
knew
think
this though,
they
and I
keep
knew
you-
this about you.
They keep you locked in.
You're not a resort guy.
Look, Maui, Hawaii, wonderful place. Not for me.
Well, hold on. I love Hawaii.
Do you?
Yeah, well, because recently I was introduced to a podcast listener who lives on Honolulu. He's giving me the local.
But that's different. Local boy life is different.
Totally
I'm talking
different.
about Hawaii, American mainlander, visiting.
Resort world.
Different. Not for me. Totally respect it. Just,
Yeah.
it's not there for me.
I think something that I learned though.
Kauai, though, that's a special place.
Kauai's
Kauai's
beautiful.
cool.
I think what I learned is that like Hawaii does have its own unique culture that I do enjoy.
I would love that.
It's not just a resort town for Americans. It's like
But that 99% of people that do Hawaii don't go hang out with locals.
Except Eric.
I wouldn't-
You,
yeah, I wouldn't.
my friend, met someone through the Alfalfa pod.
That's right.
And you have some special privileges to the Hawaiian.
What's the hierarchy
Yeah.
there? It's native, locals, and then foreigners.
right because our friend,
Mainlanders?
our friend Ricky, who's born and raised in Hawaii, can't call himself a native because that means that you have Hawaiian blood, like from the original
He's
ancestry.
born and raised, but he can't say he's native.
Right.
Come on.
He's local. Local.
Citizen.
Local's different.
Oh, so we got no shot.
No shot.
You
Well,
we can't make our way up the caste system.
no, that's for the people who from like King Kamehameha originally.
You know, I get
Hey,
it. I honestly
good knowledge
get it.
bit. Nice pull.
I get it.
Name drop.
All right. Well, let's give a shout out to Zbiotics, and then we'll get started here. So
Yes.
go to zbiotics.com/alfalfa. Use the code alfalfa at checkout. That's the whole point there. It helps out the pod and lets Zbiotics know that you heard them from us. We use Zbiotics quite a bit on the wedding trip. I did every night, 3 nights in a row. Kept me flowing nicely. Guys, I made 7 a.m. yoga and the 9 a.m. circuit training.
First night, didn't take it.
Yeah.
Forgot. Paid the price. Second night, took it. Had a great day.
Big talker over here. Signed up for all the activities. Didn't make one.
A lot of respect for you guys. A lot of respect for you guys for making it to all the activities we signed up for. Beach yoga, like a CrossFit class. I did none of those.
Anyway, Zbiotics helped us keep on track. It's the first genetically engineered probiotic to help you make those drinks you take at night not feel so bad in the morning. The pre-alcohol probiotic is the one that we talk about a lot, the one we use every day. I used it last night. We took the whole company out to dinner last night.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
We went to a restaurant called Cali. It's a nice Mediterranean.
I love Cali.
Yeah.
That's a nice
Got a little
spot.
private
In
room.
the gas lamp. That's a good
Yeah,
spot.
drank a little too much, but
Cali
still made
is
the
a
workout,
good
7 a.m.
spot.
Proud of you, man.
Thank you, Zbiotics. So anyway, guys, check out zbiotics.com/alfalfa. Use the code at checkout. And that is it. Thanks, guys.
Oh yeah.
Hi guys. I'm excited.
Should we do the shout out for Emma?
Yeah. Let me talk about this.
Okay.
So, first of all, let's talk about what's happening with Hurricane.
Helene?
Yes. I don't know much about the details of the overall devastation, but I know that some of our community members were affected by it. I mean, before we get into that, like, this level of devastation is unlike anything we've seen, right? In a long, long time.
Just the photos that I saw posted in our Discord were insane. Like, wiped out Emma's whole town.
Yeah. Yeah. From Florida to North Carolina, I mean, the whole thing was just like a disaster. So what we wanted to mention is that multiple Alfalfa community members were affected by this, and obviously, if you're the kind of person that turns on the news and doesn't live under a rock, you know about this, and it's just been absolutely devastating. Towns have been wiped out, and of all the people that were affected by this, one of our most cherished members, Paradox, aka Emma, was deeply affected by this to the point where her entire town was washed away. She had to survive on a roof for 4 days, and she is basically without a home right now.
Right.
And she's figuring out what the fuck to do with her life, and in a car, and just moved on from her town and looking for places to stay. And I don't think any of us could even begin to try to empathize with what that feels like. So I guess what we wanted to say, first of all, is like our hearts, our prayers are with everyone affected by this. Emma, of course, with you. And we can't even imagine. What we wanted to do is support. And we haven't done anything like this before. And so what we wanted to reach out to the Alfalfa community is to support Emma, who's helped us plan events, helped us plan the last event in Austin, who helped us plan the event coming up next week in Salt Lake City. Somebody who has just been giving and giving and giving to the Alfalfa community, who's, again, cherished and loved by all. And so if you would like to help Emma with a donation to restart her life, literally from scratch, send us a donation and we'll just forward it all over to Emma. Our Streamlabs donation is not working right now as far as I'm aware. If you're able to get it to work through there, go for it. What I recommend, though, is if you're listening, whether you're live right now or even afterward, we will forward all of these along. Just PayPal us. So PayPal alfalfapod@gmail.com. That's alfalfapod, P-O-D, @gmail.com. When you type it into Alfalfa, it'll pop up Alfalfa LLC as the receiver. Send us whatever you want. And if you leave a memo and you leave a message, we'll read it out next week on the pod. And what I'll do right now is if anyone does it during the episode, I'll keep an eye on them right now, and I'll read them out during the episode as well. But we just wanted to do a little something and help Emma out. We'll be sending her something on behalf of the pod as well. And we just wanted to also give this out to the community to be able to support as well, to let her know we love you and we're sorry.
Yeah, good shout out. I mean, I was just like looking up some of the devastation and like the death toll, like which you don't really hear a lot in like an American hurricane. It's almost 200.
Wow.
200 people, the death toll. So I think this is getting shoved under the news kind of a little bit with everything going on. There's an election. There's like, potential war in the Middle East, but I think it deserves a little attention. Keep our focus here at home a little bit. So yeah. Support the community if you guys can. We're going to support as well. But good shout out, Armand. Good call, guys.
Yep.
All right. What else we got? You got a Alfalfa round, Armand?
Yes, I do. So confused by one of those comments. I need to clarify. Okay. So I got a sauna tip for you guys.
Oh. Were we doing it wrong the whole time?
The whole time.
You go fully clothed in,
He's
right?
clothed
After
now.
the gym? Just to be clear.
on.
Shoes on with the shit on the bottom.
Music
is
playing
the key.
for everyone.
Yeah, music playing. No, listen. I realized something on accident. Like a today I learned kind of moment. So I went into the sauna and I had forgotten my water bottle that day at the gym. It's like, all right, I'm just going to drink water before. And then I know I drink a lot of water during the sauna. So, I'll guzzle it when I get out. And I went into the sauna this time without water, and I had a completely different experience.
Like a hallucinogenic, you're dehydrated experience.
No, the opposite.
Okay.
Like a much more comfortable, less intense, and what felt like more beneficial experience. So I'm like, okay, what just happened? I look it up. You're not supposed to drink water when you're in the sauna. You're supposed to wait until afterward. You're supposed to hydrate before and drink afterward. When you drink water, when you're in the sauna, you're constantly resetting and deregulating your body temperature. The whole purpose of the sauna is to get you to that temperature where your body goes into that state where it's like actually getting those benefits and those heat shock proteins and all that stuff that doctors can address and scientists can address is what's occurring. All the benefits, all the things that they are looking at in longevity occur when your body goes into that state. You can't go into that state if you're constantly drinking water. Cold water in particular is what I was like pouring water on myself, drinking water. So I looked this up. It's like very bad to drink water when you're in the sauna.
That's good alpha, sir.
Wait, is this Nordic country approved? Like this advice? Like where did you get this advice from?
Well, I'm gonna
ChatGPT.
accept it as fact, but I'm gonna ask you, Nick. Have you been unintentionally doing it correctly this whole time?
No, I refill the water to the max.
Oh, only me.
And then
only
I walk
me.
in.
I'm the only guy who doesn't
You've
drink
been
water.
doing it
Yeah.
correctly, unintentionally.
Yeah, unintentionally doing it the right way.
Why are you like at a lazy moment don't
I
want to
went
refill
so
the water?
far as to almost tell this guy in the sauna at the gym who didn't have water. I was like, "Bro, do you need some water?"
And it also makes me think and also believe that maybe I'm unintentionally doing everything correctly, which includes clothes on, shoes on.
No, you're completely wrong about that. You're completely wrong.
No
about
one has
that.
time to get undressed for the sauna. No one has time.
Crazy, disgusting Americans. So that's one tip. I have one other item, which is that I recently discovered that it could be anywhere from a minimum of 10% to 30% of the population has sleep apnea. It is way more prevalent than people realize. And what I am doing and what I recommend people do is, first of all, it affects more men than women, but it afflicts obviously both genders, sexes. But you can just go to your doctor and go to your like pulmonary department and request a home sleep test. I just did mine last night. Third time's the charm. I had problems with the equipment and all that, but I'm going to get my results soon. I don't know if I have sleep apnea. I'll let you know maybe in a following episode. But like that shit is really important, man. Like if you have sleep apnea and you don't know, that's a really big deal. And we're talking about potentially 1 out of every 3.5 people could have this.
So
that's a huge number.
We know a lot of guys in our lives who have this already.
Yeah.
That are diagnosed.
And I'll tell you right now, I shared a room with you in Las Vegas. I could diagnose you immediately. I was actually wondering if you were getting any oxygen into your body.
You know what the funny thing is? The reason I'm doing this test is because Eric was like,
oh, he told you.
Oh yeah,
because he told us.
Like,
he sidebarred with us.
Are
He's
you
like, I'm
getting
concerned.
oxygen?
I'm concerned about Armand.
okay?
He doesn't
Are
breathe.
you okay?
Oxygen.
Like I wanted to look. It was like dark in the room. I wanted to look over. Like, are you actually blue? Like I didn't know you were getting anything in.
Did you put your finger under his nose?
Like, I know Eric can spice it up a bit, so I took that with like, no, there's really something happening, but like, maybe it's not as
I'm
bad
underplaying it. I'm underplaying it. Like the doctors are gonna see your results and be like, "Sir, how are you alive?"
So yeah, I'd like.
Wait,
to,
so you
I'd like
can
to
you
find
can have
out.
sleep apnea without being like significantly overweight? Like I thought that was like the origin of it.
No, I looked that up too. It's a thing
Common
that is
misconception?
No, it's just that if you're overweight, it's even more likely. That's all.
All right.
It doesn't mean that normal body weight people don't have it. It's just that it's a factor that makes it more common.
Sorry, I started laughing while you were commenting.
It's fine.
I'm just happy you're married because, man, you got to throw that CPAP on when you're dating.
Oh, I don't care.
Not a good look.
I don't care.
You don't think that's
thank God
you
I'm
don't think
not-
that's a blocker?
to
It's
being
a
single and
blocker.
having-
It's a
It's a bit of a blocker.
Well, not when you're married.
Yeah, right. But like
Yeah.
night one, you're like, just excuse me.
It is definitely. would
Throw on
be.
the Darth Vader mask.
Definitely would be. Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, that was great. I'm going to sleep. Just,
Was that good for you?
oh, dear
This is
God.
like-
That's what it sounds like. What it sounds like.
Yeah, because one of our friends had it that night as well.
That's right. He had the CPAP
and
on.
I was just like, this is scary. This thing is scary. And I was like, I never want that. But then Eric tells me I wasn't breathing. So I was like, all right, I got to figure this out.
Okay, so I got another funny story about this. So before you showed up, I was sharing a room with Jason, and Jason had the mask, and we were going to like some day pool party thing, and Jason was taking like a sleep in. So I'm like gonna wake him up to be like, hey, do you want to join us? But the mask is so it controls all of your senses, so you don't really understand what's going on around you. So I was kind of like talking to him, like, hey man, hey, until I eventually go like tap him on the shoulder, and he freaks out so bad that I touch him to wake him up. He just like flinched and was like really distraught. I mean, this CPAP is like,
well, it's a full face mask plus the tube that goes into the machine.
Right. Yeah. So
it's intense.
I hope that you get the treatment that you need.
My main concern is if you have to wear that, how do you sleep without like I move?
No, dude, you tomb only, like mummified on your back.
Are you face down ever? Or
yeah, I'm a
down?
side. I'm a side and down. I'm a side.
Not anymore, dude.
I'm face down to the left.
Me too.
Yeah.
Face down to the left.
Do you face your spouse or the other opposite direction?
If she's on my left, which she is in my normal day to day. But sometimes when you go traveling, do you maintain seat positions?
Very important.
Do you maintain same seats?
You don't reset that.
No,
do you?
we just go free for all when we're traveling.
That's crazy.
We usually do keep seat positions, but this time in Hawaii, she claimed the other side, and I was like,
no,
what?
I think it's determined by like what is going on around that side's area. Because I always take the side with like less room.
Shouldn't the man take the side closest to the door
for protection?
Yeah, of course.
You
You're the first to
stick to your side. Don't cause such a ruckus.
No, you got to as a man. You got to be closest to the
will sometimes be like, "Oh, this side has a nightstand. I want this side."
See, I give the nightstand, and I give like also more breathing room. Like I'll just take like the little.
But I don't think I could switch to the left. I'm a right side for life guy.
Dude, Cameron said in the chat, man, you're gonna be Darth Vader. You're gonna have the mask, the mouth tape, whole nine, dude. You're gonna be fucking dialed in.
Actually breathe.
Oh my god.
You still taping?
No, I stopped taping because I'm like, if I have sleep apnea, then I'm literally preventing myself from breathing. Probably not good to tape my mouth.
You brought this on yourself.
I can't breathe through my nose, so then I'm covering my mouth. I looked that up, and it's like, yes, that's dangerous.
Yeah,
you
might
not
die.
tape your mouth.
I saw a thing on the internet that said I shouldn't sleep on my left side because that's where my heart is, and it puts a little. Anyway, I didn't even look up if it's verified or not, but now I'm like superstitious, and I prefer to sleep on my right side to relieve the pressure on my heart.
If that's real, because I sleep on my left too.
Anyway, Eric, do you have any visitors come lately? I hear you have a question about home visitor ethics,
etiquette. Yeah. So recently, I had Mina's family members visit San Diego, and Mina and I got into a little bit of I would call it like a disagreement. It wasn't like a fight or anything, but it like made me think, how do you do this? Like when people come visit you, I think it's like an ideological difference. At least Mina and I had this, where it's like, on the one hand, do you treat them like tourists and you're the tour guide? Or are they visiting you to see how you live and you take them into your life? Does that make sense? Like does that distinction, is that clear?
Yeah.
So like, I think at the moment that they arrived, we had like a couple parties lined up that were like a friend, like a high school friend's like daughter's first birthday and stuff. I was like, well, do we take them there? Or do we like take them to the zoo, right? Like, cause it's like an example of the dichotomy.
Take them to the zoo, dude. You got to cancel your events when family's in town. You can't be doing third-party activities.
That's how you do it.
I think that's like you can't. What are you gonna do? Leave the parents at home?
Well, let me ask you this then. What about when you visit another city? Do you expect to be catered to like a tourist, or do you want to sort of like fall into the life that you're visiting?
Like I'm staying at their home?
Yeah.
No, just don't pretend like I'm not even here. Like when you have time to hang out.
This reminds me of that last topic, man. This triggers me.
What?
Remember when we talked about something related to this with picking up from the airport?
Oh yeah, that was like 2
So
years
not
ago.
only do you guys not want to pick the person up who's visiting you at the well, you said yes. They were the team no. You not even pick them up from the airport, but also leave me alone. Like, I'm not even
If
here.
I'm visiting, yeah, they got shit to do. If it's during the weekday, let them do their
What
thing.
am I here for then?
You're here to hang out when they normally do hangout things.
So
When they
you're
have free
just room
time.
and board.
Yeah.
So hold on, let me just drill down on what you just said there. What am I here for then? I think what you're there for is to visit these people, the people that you're supposed to visit.
So then you probably should have some time for them, right?
I think what you should do is maybe like go into their world, like you're visiting them, like
Yes.
see their life.
Is that your distinction you're asking about?
Yes, like
okay,
is
sorry.
it see their life or
Is it
you go and
cater to me or I integrate with you?
that's exactly right.
Okay, I
Yeah, but
see.
what if
Sorry,
my
I
like
misunderstood.
8 hours of my day is staring at a laptop?
Then they get to integrate into that or go do their own thing.
There's no
But that's what
integrating,
you're
it's-
asking.
That's what I'm asking. It's like,
You're like-
what's the
What's
expectation?
the onus?
Yeah, what's the expectation when you're either visiting somebody or they're visiting you? Because like I've realized where I land on this. I sort of expect the person visiting to like accept that they're coming into my world, and I'm gonna show them a good time. Like I'm gonna make a point to show them a good time, but it's gonna be like my terms that you're gonna come into, and I'm gonna show you a good
I'm
time.
with you.
Yeah,
I think it's unfair to visit somebody if you're going to go as far as staying with them to ask or expect them to cater to you.
right.
Are you
like-
talking about like? I think you're talking about like, should we go in the tourist like
Full
roadshow?
catering mode. Oh, you're here in San Diego, so tomorrow I'm taking you to the zoo. And
Right.
then I'm going to take you to my favorite dinner spot. No. Tonight, Mina and I were planning on going here. If you'd like, you can join us. That's what you'd like to see.
Not
I think
even-
the strong
yeah, yeah.
exclusion is kids. If kids are coming, take them to Legoland. You got to do it. You got to do it.
Yeah, no kids on this particular one, but I agree with you. If kids get in the mix, it's completely different. But
Okay, can I counter?
yeah,
Not even that I believe this.
Mhm.
So one of the benefits of having people visit you is you get to do touristy stuff.
sure,
And sometimes doing that in your own city can be fun.
definitely.
And so what's the balance?
Right.
How much should it be you're joining me in my world versus like, I guess that's the question for the host. What does the host want to do? Does the host want to, like, there are so many times people visit me and I'll be like, I really want to show you this place.
Yeah.
That's different, right?
Yeah.
But what you're saying is don't expect me and give me a list of shit you want to do and then I'm just your chauffeur.
I think that's like basically what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I think it's totally fair.
Yeah, I think obviously anybody who's hosting wants to cater to their guests as well. And like, is there anything specific that you'd like to do? I'll take you there. But like, I'm talking about the ideology, like really what the expectation is when you're here. You know, like, am I catering to you?
I think
or
the
are
answer is
you-
a very Eric answer. Like Rock said in the chat, it's a little bit of both.
a little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
Show them around, maybe do things you wouldn't normally do, but also go to the same restaurant you're going to go to, cook the same food you might. I think-
Introduce them to your friends.
Yeah, of
Hey,
course.
Rock says it's a bit of both. Show them the sights, but don't throw your entire routine out the window. If they want to do tourist stuff, they can Uber themselves to it while you go get your shit done.
That's how I felt about it. Exactly, Rock. I felt like introducing the guests to our friend group and everything as we do the stuff that we like is actually like a cool window into our lives, and that's like a benefit of visiting.
Well, R2 Guate says, if you invite them, then yes, you should cater to them. If they're in town and just crashing with you, then don't worry.
Good nuance.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So if they come to you and are just like, can I crash? They're more independent. But if you're like, come see me, then you cater.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It's a good nuance.
That's
I like that.
interesting.
All right.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Problem
Thanks for the
solved.
chat, guys.
Oh, thank you. Whew.
Problem solved.
That was a tough one. All right. Maybe let's go into a little easier problem. Can we talk about this Longshoreman strike?
Yeah.
All right. I think the best way to start off this convo is we got to play this guy's video.
You have the video
Okay.
queued up.
Yeah, put up Tony Soprano.
Tony
It's
Soprano.
yeah, this guy. So we
Here
got to
he
start off
is.
from scratch. Put the audio on.
Let me explain something to you. These people today don't know what a strike is.
Right.
When my men hit the streets, from Maine to Texas, every single port will lock down. You know what's going to happen? I'll tell you. First week, be all over the news every night, boom, boom. Second week, guys who sell cars can't sell cars because the cars ain't coming in off the ships. They get laid off. Third week, malls start closing down. They can't get the goods from China. They can't sell clothes. They can't do this. Everything in the United States comes on a ship. They go out of business. Construction workers get laid off because the materials aren't coming in. The steel's not coming in. The lumber's not coming in. They lose their job. Everybody's hating the longshoremen now because now they realize how important our jobs are. Now I have the president screaming at me, I'm putting a Taft-Hartley on you. Go ahead. Taft-Hartley means I have to go back to work for 90 days. That's a cooling off period. Do you think when I go back for 90 days, those men are going to go to work on that pier? It's going to cost the company's money to pay their salaries. Well, they went from 30 moves an hour maybe to 8. They're going to be like this. Who's going to win here in the long run?
It's a nice watch.
You're better off sitting down and let's get a contract and let's move on with this world. And in today's world, I'll cripple you. I will cripple you, and you have no idea what that means. Nobody does.
I will cripple you.
These people today.
Okay.
And now we see the crippling.
So, I mean, I think this is a fascinating conversation. Like, there's one topic of, like, the actual issue itself. There's the whole concept of, like, public sector unions. One of the things that they're trying to argue for is no automation allowed for the next 6 years of their contract. Like, and do we actually owe them more money and their salaries? Like, what do they actually deserve? There's, like, a bunch of different ways we can go with this. Maybe I'll start off by just telling you, like, this is a real issue. So we are an importer of goods, you know, from China and from different countries, and this is like a real effect. So we kind of knew this might happen. We, like, increased inventories beforehand, and apparently a lot of retailers did. Like, that's what if you measure any economic things, they measure inventory. Inventories rose ahead of this because potentially it could end up in a strike. But the whole East Coast brings in a lot of fresh food. It brings in a lot of, like he said, cars, clothes, and we had containers on the water. We had our one container just sneak in right before this. A container price, you know, it's come down from like $12K in the last couple months because people were trying to get ahead of this to like $6 to $8K. Like, some of the quotes look like they're like close to 20, like COVID prices, so like $20K a container. Okay. Which significantly increases your cost of goods. And then, yeah, there's going to be a massive buildup of containers. Things aren't actually going to be able to get in. I don't think it's as extreme as he's saying because we have this whole West Coast, you know, area to ship goods into, and I'm sure smart retailers or any smart importer started shipping their containers to the West Coast. But yeah, I mean, he could certainly, you know, cripple the economy. And as for much as we talk about like unemployment rate and initial claims and like thinking about our coins and our stock prices and how it could affect like the overall economy, like this could certainly like to start to distort the numbers pretty quickly. So anyway, that's my like personal experience with it. It's been interesting to watch happen. I mean, it was half the day yesterday figuring out like contingency plans if this thing goes a few days, a few weeks, a few months. How are we going to get all of the goods into the country?
Right. So like West Coast prices will naturally rise as well as like they're getting
overwhelmed. Of course, the container prices instantly shot up. Instantly. Yeah. And luckily, like, we've been able to like negotiate some like
So was the $12K per container to $20K per container increase what you're seeing on the West Coast?
Doesn't matter where it's going. And just to be clear, like a normal container should be like $4 to $5K. Oh. And it increased to $12K because people were trying to get ahead of this. And we were wondering, I was like, why the hell are container prices spiking for no good reasons? And I was like, oh, maybe it's Q4. Retailers are getting ready for holiday shopping season. But I think a lot of these people were trying to get ahead of.
They just knew that this like negotiation was happening.
Yeah, exactly. So that was interesting.
Can we talk about their pay?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have many real takes on this. I'll just steal some from Twitter. But, like, don't they already get paid really well?
So, yeah, they get paid anywhere from, like, $150 to, like, $350K a year.
A longshoreman?
Longshoreman.
That's very...
You're talking about, like, 40,000-ish people up and down the East Coast and the Gulf?
I mean, I saw this take. This like, they want a raise to, like, a physician's level who has, like, 10 years of education.
Right.
and then the no automation. And is there any like fear about what's coming? And it's like you're not like is this a sort of example of what we might see in many industries that will be affected by automation?
Yeah. So I saw a great video of a guy on the West Coast. He's at the Long Beach port, and he was kind of standing in unity with his brothers on the East Coast because he took a video at work. He's at the dock where all the containers are coming in, and he takes a video and he's like, "Do you guys see any employees here?" He's like, "This dock is open. We're moving containers, lots of them." He's like, "I'm here. Do you see any other employees here?" And there wasn't. There was literally like automation moving, and we're like probably like level 1 out of 10 in terms of automation. But he was like, "This is what they're fighting against."
They're like protecting themselves against that future.
And
so to me, it's just that's exactly all it is. It's just that. I mean, what am I missing?
A fear. Okay, so that's a good point, right? Like they've probably gone from like hundreds of thousands of employees to like tens of thousands of employees. They could go down to thousands of employees. So we've talked about this trend a lot, that like AI automation slowly takes away jobs. As a society, do we worry about that, or do we just say, well, that's a natural progression of technological advancement of
It is a natural progression. It has happened in more industries than any of us could count, and there will always be a reactive, defensive stranglehold on trying to maintain controls, and it will be through chaotic things like this, because it's like, why wouldn't you fight for your right to survive, for something you've been doing for 20 years, for the great income that you make? I mean, anybody would. I would. I wouldn't be like, yeah, bring on the automation, take my job. No, I'd be like, no, this is what I do. This is what I know. I'm going to protect it. I'm going to play politics. I'm going to play war if necessary. And that's going to increase tenfold with robotics in particular, right?
Yeah.
So, and automation generally speaking. It's worrisome for, Eric, you've often talked about like the kind of separation of the rich and poor being exacerbated by this technology and some of those concerns. And we've talked about the poor rising up as a result of that, and to what degree do they rise up, or does it swing further apart? This is an example of a bit of a bifurcation. It's swinging further apart because it's causing their fees to go down rather than up, but then some things are going to continue to, some people are going to accrue the rewards of this. It's not them. So how you balance this, how society balances this, we're going to see a lot of like mini wars like this.
And we saw one with the actors and directors guilds, like basically specifically saying we don't want these like AI doubles of us where we don't get paid our true value.
Yeah, and it's so easy for me, by the way, to sit back and say this because I'm not affected by it. I can guarantee you that if I was affected by it, I'd be screaming. And I'd be just like this guy, and I'd be like, go to war. F you guys.
But like,
I would go to war.
45,000 jobs here, another 100,000 jobs there. Like at some point, it does affect everyone, right?
Yes.
Like all demand in an economy like ours is derived demand, meaning it eventually derives from an end consumer. It doesn't matter what you sell. All the demand is eventually arrives from someone who is in a household, who has a job and has income.
Paying for a good or a service.
So at some point it does. And, if there was like a massive shock to the economy and we saw massive unemployment, yeah, we care immediately. But this might be one of those like frogs in a boiling water, like a slow burn. But it will have effect on everyone's business, regardless of what industry you're in.
So the way I'm thinking about this is like, from like a long-term perspective, this is just, I think, capitalism sort of doing its thing, right? Like technology will displace these workers. These workers are trying to maintain their stranglehold on this role that has like a finite life, it seems like. My question is like, who owns the ports? Like, because where's this money going to flow if these jobs get automated away, labor gets cut, which they're trying to prevent? Like, imagine labor gets cut and replaced by AI, like you're seeing on the West Coast or maybe in China right now. Like, where does the profit accrue to the port authorities or whatever? Like,
Yeah.
who owns that?
I don't know the answer to that, but I do know as like a merchant, we pay fees to have a container get, moved off the dock and onto a truck. And
so it's probably owned by like municipalities or the federal government, like owning the port.
I would assume so. I don't know for sure.
Yeah, because I'm wondering, like, in the really long-term game of this thing, like, we talked about, like, when like AI displaces labor way more broadly, what happens? Like what happens to these workers, and how do people like make money?
I think this is an early taste.
Yeah, this is such an early taste.
So early.
Like, I think it just reminds me of this idea that like when like labor gets displaced by AI, more and more and more as that becomes more prevalent, we're going to see universal basic income become a thing. And like, I guess that's why I'm asking who owns the ports, because those are the guys making all the money. They're going to have to probably pay into this UBI tax or something that we create.
Yeah. I mean, can we move on to like one of my biggest beefs about this whole thing is like, this is a public sector union, meaning like we as citizens of this country don't have any other option than this group, right? So like, I think of a public sector employee or a union as the only option, meaning there's no other competition. So you might see it in like...
what are some other examples?
I mean, some other examples like firefighters, teachers unions, there's certain police unions that are public sector. It's not like you can, replace them with a different type of employee. Like there's...
Well, hold on. Like, is that true? Because there's like I know a bunch of dudes from my growing up that wanted to be firefighters that would like gladly become a firefighter if all the firefighters went on strike. They'd be the scabs. They'd be like, yeah, I'll just be the firefighter.
Did that happen?
It never happened, but I just know that there was like a demand.
There's demand,
so,
right?
Like,
so
I don't think that...
Isn't it a shame that like we can't have those people compete? Like there's no other people. I'm sure there's gladly someone who would take a $200,000 job to assist in the unloading. And I'm sure there's technical skills and certain skills they need to acquire in order to like do this job. But like, there's demand for this job. There was all jokes around Twitter, like all these like private equity, interns are like, I'll quit.
I'm working my ass off.
Yeah, I'll take the $250K job. But I mean, there's just like a massive problem with like public sector unions in that there's like this huge conflict of interest, right? Like they're negotiating directly with the government. And so you have these political like biases at play. But more importantly, there's no competition for their work. And it's not necessarily just like an impact
terrible, bro.
on citizens, but it's also on the actual employees.
No, it's terrible. My biggest gripe is the ban on automation. So on the one hand, you look at that and you say, well, from the perspective of these people, why would they ever want any automation whatsoever? You're asking them to give up their jobs. On the other hand, you look at it from that's the micro. You look at it from a macro perspective, and what is best, as Eric was referring to earlier, isn't this just capitalism doing what it does? Technology will continue to improve, provide opportunities to take on like physical labor or even intellectual labor and automate those things with AI or robotics or automation generally speaking. And humanity and the generalized like production of a society improves as a result of that. Some people will lose as a result of that, and they'll need to find roles where they can become productive again. So the masses and society in the macro level only gains from these types of things. Maybe I'm being naive about the repercussions of people not being able to place themselves.
Yeah.
But I believe the placement issue is temporary. We'll always find things to do that are productive until we don't, and then you have UBI questions that come up. But if you follow my line of thinking, I'm basically saying we lose as a society, and they're pigeonholing and trapping an industry and saying, no, we don't want technology entering our industry because we want to protect our jobs. And that doesn't help humanity move forward. Does it?
Well, I think it...
What am I missing?
I think it's just like, are you talking about near term or long term? Like, in the long term, I think technology is going to win because capitalism just enables that, right? So, like, what this strike is going to do, it's going to increase the cost of shipments, like Nick talked about. It's going to increase. It's going to like lead to inflation on goods, clearly. And so in the near term, it's going to be painful, but in the long term, it's going to basically ensure the expedient demise of these guys, because like we're going to replace them with technology as quickly as possible if they're getting paid this much.
Like, can we maybe take this to an
Yeah, it
extreme?
does.
Because like
You're right.
I kind of want to take this example to extreme, because I think there's at some point where, you know, as a member of society, like, whoa, like eliminating X number of people, whether that's 100,000, 500,000, a million people from jobs in order for everyone to save a few pennies. Because I'll give you an example. Like, out of those container fees, typically you'd see something like $4,500 for the shipping cost of that container, and then maybe like, I don't know, $500, move it onto a ship, and then like ship it to, you know, a local warehouse or something. So we're talking like 10% of the fees. It's not really like the biggest driver of it. What the biggest driver is the supply and demand of containers and the actual supply and demand of goods that need to be shipped. It's not the actual movement of them off the boat into the truck. So is there like a number which we freak out and we say, well, maybe we shouldn't automate that? Like if there were 500,000 jobs that got automated, but like everyone's, I don't know, monthly budget went down like $25.
This is a crazy question.
Because we are going to encounter that at some point.
I think we're going to encounter it in every industry, basically.
And every time, do you think the answer is yes? Like we should just automate it? Like
in the long term, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
But in the short term, the answer is probably way more nuanced.
Can we talk about this? Our Tony Soprano guy here.
Okay, yeah.
I gotta say, his fit was pretty nice. Some Cartier glasses.
He had Cartier glasses. He had a nice watch on. Did you catch the watch?
How can you tell what kind of glasses?
I couldn't tell like what kind of watch. It looked like at least 10K. Blue dial Rolex.
Yeah, he's doing well.
I mean, didn't somebody say that his salary is like $850,000 or something? More. Yeah,
because he's still president of like a local member, and then he's in charge of the national member, so he gets two salaries.
Okay.
And I also found out that his son is like the executive president, vice president, I guess. What do you call it?
A little nepotism in there.
And what he would like is if his son takes his role. And obviously, if he gets a good deal for these longshoremen, he's going to get what he wants, because they're going to be like, yeah, just whatever you want, dude. You got us like 40% raise and guaranteed our jobs for 6 years.
What are they arguing for? Do we have this data?
It sounds like they're arguing
to show this tweet. By
yeah,
the way.
I want to show this tweet. Hold on. Do you want to read this or
not really?
So we're looking at like a 77% pay raise. I don't know. I think that could be a little hyperbole, but like we're talking like probably like a 40 to 60% pay raise plus a ban on automation for 6 years. They're typically 6-year agreements.
Okay, you want me to go back to this tweet?
I only read romantic stuff there.
The whole like
you don't like numbers?
Like bind of the union on this port is even more insidious than that, because they have more than just what they get paid, and the bans is like all the rules in which like they influence, you know, how things get moved. Like every time they touch a container, they want to get paid on it. And so what we end up not being able to do is being able to like move these containers onto smaller boats and then move them through our, like, we have a lot of waterways that move throughout
like
the country.
The entire Mississippi River system like goes through the entire
Yeah,
middle
you
of
could
America.
put, you know, instead offload like 50 containers, put 4 on like, you know, a smaller boat and like move it closer to port instead of throwing it on a truck.
But is that like, you know what? I'm going to show my naivete here, because like I don't even know how goods get moved once they come off the port. Like I would imagine that the most efficient way to move large product is by rail. I would imagine.
Oh, fuck no.
No?
No way, dude.
Like you're talking about individual semi trucks, 18-wheelers is the most efficient way?
Yes.
No way.
Yeah. So like at one point, containers were so expensive, or we were out of inventory, and I was like, we need to get this as fast as possible into our fulfillment center. So instead of shipping it all the way from China through the Panama Canal onto the East Coast, we shipped it to the LA port, and then we put it on a train, which was a horrendous decision. Like the train is slow. The trains don't run whenever you want. They run at certain times. They arrive at certain junctures. They need to like move certain containers off that train,
Okay.
move it on, and like you can't track it as close as you can a truck.
Okay.
Like, and so while it is cheaper, it still takes a considerable amount of time to go from West Coast to East Coast on a train.
Okay.
And there's several holdups that could happen.
Yeah, I needed to hear the word cheaper.
Whereas-
because, like, you got to have some economies of scale when you're like moving that much freight on a train
Yeah,
with all
you
those
have to.
cars, but like in comparison to a semi truck.
But a semi truck can go from West Coast to East Coast in 4 days. It might cost you $4,000 to $7,000, so you're going to pay, double what you would normally do, but it'll get there in 4 days.
I also just imagine there's a lot more of those running than there are trains, so you get some economies of scale with the semis, but the train can just move a lot more. Right?
Yeah, I can. I mean, I think it's good for things like potentially like cars or military equipment.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff seems like right for, but like your
Yeah.
everyday goods.
What I
no
like
way.
from this, and if you guys have any reaction, is like U.S. ports are already half as efficient as leading international ports because the longshoremen have been blocking efforts for automation for years already. So the cost of that inefficiency is passed to consumers every day, and we're paying that now. And the union is now striking to make it even worse. So I don't know. I think everyone likes to make things very quickly clear online of who's the good guy and who's the bad guy. And there's a lot of people that want these guys to be the bad guy. What's the take that they're the good guy?
I mean, the good guys, they represent a significant large portion of our economy, right? Like you could even who's also on their side is truckers, right? Because they increase the demand of truckers because we can't move these containers onto other boats and put them through the railways. We literally put every single container onto a truck. So we increase demand for truckers, but truckers are also a good example of, someone who doesn't want automation. It's I think it's probably the highest volume in terms of number of jobs and men is employed by driving. And so, as soon as you have self-driving semi-trucks, I think that's the example where we're oh shit, we're about to unemploy hundreds of thousands of people, but
Yeah.
Our container prices or movement prices from West Coast to East Coast will go from $5K to $1K. I don't know.
Yeah, the price of goods for all consumers will go down,
Go
and
down.
that'll increase demand because we're going to be able to buy more shit. And so I don't.
But
look
then
at-
no one's going to be able to buy that shit because they don't got a job. So at some point it does tilt.
I mean, share the profits from the top down, I guess. UBI.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
We'll have to.
I'm still manning the other side because I hate these public sector unions. I think they should get
The group that I
automated into
feel
oblivion.
bad for, that I would prefer to see in the limelight right now, is farmers. These are the people that are getting absolutely screwed. They have no support. Their margins are razor thin, and they're serving this entire country and putting food on the table for people. That's the one I'm more interested in to see in the limelight and to see a little bit of support for.
You talking about farmers in Asia? Because those are the ones that are going to ship to our eastern ports.
No, just specifically, totally different thing. I mean, farmers in general in the country.
Yeah. Well, I agree.
As a
I mean,
sector.
I love farming.
But there's no collective bargaining with farmers, right?
No.
They're distinct individual entities that negotiate on their
They are,
behalf.
but they are collectively being screwed.
I mean, I don't know. It depends what you're farming because there's significant subsidies for things like corn when there's no real demand for that much corn. But with the subsidies, there's incentives to produce
Is that because
corn.
of all the high fructose corn
Sure.
syrup? I don't like
or that
shit.
mythical energy
want
source,
that.
ethanol.
I don't want that.
Anyway, Rock says teachers should be paid more than longshoremen, in my opinion. Adam Snyder also agrees with Eric. These union heads are overplaying their hand. This will lead to huge investments in automation to be rolled out in 6 years. By then, the leaders will have retired, but the kids get laid off without useful skills.
I agree. I don't look at these guys as bad or good or anything. I think they're just playing the game, the game of capitalism. They're trying to leverage their strong position right now. It's a very short-term strength, and I think it's going to reduce their runway.
So I agree with you. I know I'm nitpicking your argument, but I don't think they're playing the game of capitalism because this is not capitalism. This is pure monopoly.
Oh yeah. I can already hear Steven in my ear being like, "This is anti-capitalistic because this is like capitalism would allow competition to this."
Yeah, can we just touch on a little political string here? I find it fascinating. So it's not like they planned this to happen right before an election, just when their contracts expire. That I don't think there's any like conspiracies behind that. But you see a president whose party leader is running, and people are voting right now. And so if this thing unfurls into actually affecting employment and the economy, decreasing GDP by a few, maybe 10, 20 basis points or
Bumping
whatever
inflation
it is.
again.
Yeah, like he's obviously going to hurt his political party, but he also has this legacy of being Union Joe, right? The friendliest like politician to unions. So he may just want to carry on his legacy. And he said, I'm not going to get involved. I'm not going to do a Taft-Hartley, which is like where the government, the president specifically, can force them to go back to work for 90 days. And he said he's not going to do that.
God, imagine what the workers' motivation would be during those 90 days.
Zero.
When they're forced to work. They'll probably like show up.
Yeah.
And then like eat lunch immediately. I don't know what they do. Like,
but those rules already exist in these public sector unions where like there's like this like institutional pressure to not work too much, right? Because if you work too much, you're gonna raise the standard, and also if you work too much, you might take overtime from the other guys who need it. And there's all these rules. Like if you go and dive deep into some of these stories of different unions, like you're paid to do a specific job, but if you do a different job, for example, like I don't know, maybe your computer is broken and you want to just do IT work on the computer, replace it with a new monitor, do it yourself. No. Whoa. That's not allowed. You're doing non-union work, sir. And also that, like, they have, these rules where you can't fire union employees. So you, like, veer very far away from a meritocratic system. And so not only do you have it on the macro scale, but in the micro of, like, who's good at this job.
Yeah, good point. So that is anti-capitalistic.
Yeah, and you have, like, seniority in terms of union dues. And also, let's say you want to be a longshoreman. Great. You have to pay union dues. 2, 3, 4% to the national chapter. $1,500 just to join the chapter. Like you got to pay like a fee to the local chapter. Like you're kind of held hostage in terms of like staying within a box within there. That's not necessarily meant on like forwarding your career, right? It's a little more of a political capture there than it is.
There's a finite runway. Remember taxi medallions? Those ended up being like a terrible investment.
I do remember those.
Once capitalism came back into the fray,
Uber
those guys that wasted 10 years of savings.
How much were those? How much were those taxi medallions?
$100,000.
Yeah, minimum, right? Like in New York, they're probably millions.
Yeah.
Oof. Okay. Let's see. Rock says farms, no food. Longshoremen are the get it while it's hot stage. They know robots and AI are going to eliminate their jobs. Also, the Padres up 5-1. In case you're wondering, Eric.
Nice.
Let's go. Who gave me that update?
Rocked as well.
Oh, thanks, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you. Love that.
All right. Let's move on here.
Something casual.
Something super casual. Let's play another video from one leader to a group of people.
I don't know if we have that.
I think you might have it. Oh, we don't have it.
But it's a little long, right?
It's like 2 minutes.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, you're in a completely different card.
I don't think we... Here, I'll pull it up. You want to preface what's happening?
Yeah, so obviously people have been seeing some rockets flying in the Middle East. So let's play this video of Bibi talking to the Iranian people.
Yet at this pivotal moment, I want to address you, the people of Iran. I want to do so directly, without filters, without middlemen. Every day, you see a regime that subjugates you make fiery speeches about defending Lebanon, defending Gaza. Yet every day, that regime plunges our region deeper into darkness and deeper into war. Every day, their puppets are eliminated. Ask Mohammed Dev. Ask Nasrallah. There is nowhere in the Middle East Israel cannot reach. There's nowhere we will not go to protect our people and protect our country. With every passing moment, the regime is bringing you, the noble Persian people, closer to the abyss. The vast majority of Iranians know their regime doesn't care a whit about them. If it did care, if it cared about you, It would stop wasting billions of dollars on futile wars across the Middle East. It would start improving your lives.
Feel personally attacked on
Imagine
that one.
if all the vast money the regime wasted on nuclear weapons and foreign wars were invested in your children's education, in improving your health care, in building your nation's infrastructure, water, sewage, all the other things that you need. Imagine that. But you know one simple thing. Iran's tyrants don't care about your future, but you do. When Iran is finally free, and that moment will come a lot sooner than people think, everything will be different. Our two ancient peoples, the Jewish people and the Persian people, will finally be at peace. Our two countries, Israel and Iran, will be at peace. When that day comes, the terror network that the regime built in 5 continents will be bankrupt, dismantled. Iran will thrive as never before. Global investment, massive tourism, brilliant technological innovation based on the tremendous talents that exist inside Iran. Doesn't that sound better than endless poverty, repression, and war? From Qom to Isfahan, from Shiraz to Tabriz, there are tens of millions of good and decent people with thousands of years of history behind them and a brilliant future ahead of them.
Here.
Your children support the rapists and
the audio's
but
still
the
on.
people of Iran should know.
There you go. Yeah, so I think there's a few different things to talk about. Like, I'm no.
First of all, we're on the brink of World War III.
Yeah, I mean, I'm no BB fan. I think he's like
October
our
surprises.
equivalent of like a Dick Cheney or like a Lindsey Graham. He's kind of a little more war hungry than the typical politician. But I think I texted you guys. I think he's on like a Hall of Fame terrorist killing streak, and at some point you might should just let him cook. Like,
Who's he got lately?
He's got Hamas leader. He just killed the ace of spades of Hezbollah.
Yeah.
So he's killed all the suited connectors of Hamas and Hezbollah, and he made a point there where he said, the regime is going to change a lot sooner than you think, and that one caught my attention because that
was pretty pointed language,
right?
How so?
Well, I mean, there's a few things at play. Like, one, is it okay that we sit back? Assume we agree with him killing these terrorists, and you agree that they're terrorists. Is it okay to just let this guy just go on this roll? And I think that's a big question. The other question is how close we are to World War III. I think back to that comment he just made. If you remember, wasn't it just 2 months ago that Iran shot ballistic missiles at Israel? Just similar to what they did 2 days ago.
It seems like ages ago, but was it only 2 months ago?
It was in April.
April. Might have been 6 months ago. Shit. It feels like, I don't know, it doesn't feel that long ago for me. But in this time, these ballistic missiles, I don't know if you noticed the videos, but they were moving a lot faster. And they weren't as
had intent.
Yeah, and they weren't as pre-communicated. And also on the other side, Bibi is in a much, I don't know what you call it, he's got a lot more confidence now, to respond to it. He has some geopolitical posturing power where he didn't necessarily before. He's had these row of, let's call them successes, in terms of what he's trying to accomplish. And he might react differently now to this latest strike. So I'd be curious what you guys think on
what do you make of him reaching out to the people?
It's funny because he sent a video to the Lebanese people a week ago and before he murfed the Hezbollah leader, saying we're not at war with you, we're at war with these terrorists who essentially hold you hostage, launch terrorist attacks from your homes.
But that's pretty awesome because I feel like I'm married to a Persian woman. I know a lot of Persian people now. I know the culture. A lot of the Persian folks feel like they're sort of run by a terrorist, they don't want,
or at least a religious fanatic at the
want
very
the Ayatollah running their lives anymore. And if you can communicate that message to the people, that can be pretty effective.
A dictator is what they feel.
A dictator.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking from an American perspective, it is confirmed that Iran is one of the largest in terms of dollar amounts, state-sponsored level of terrorism through their these sub militias, right? And sub terrorist groups.
Yeah, this is the head of the snake, as people have been calling it, right? You take this out. I mean, you take out this Islamic Republic. I think it's important to distinguish. Of course, I say this, and I think
you
it's
corrected us
important
over
to say
text,
this.
so it'd be good for you to give this.
Well, look, it's like I just don't like the not that I don't like. I just think it's important to. This is not even Iran. This is they changed the name to the Islamic Republic of Iran. That's how much they want to clarify their position. This is a different country ever since these people took over. It's a full-blown dictatorship of what he called, which I think is accurate, rapist killers. These are killers. These are terrorists. They terrorized their own people. They bankrupted their own country. They removed and stripped it of all its culture. I've been through this. We've talked about this on this podcast. It's funny, like, a lot of what I see and what I've been hearing is like, you know what? Thousands of years ago, it's so interesting that the Jewish people and the Persian people are much closer than people realize. People think they're enemies. They're not at all. You know, Cyrus the Great freed the Jews from Babylon. And people are saying maybe now Netanyahu and Israel will free the Persian people from this dictatorship that they live under. And it's true. They literally are living as slaves. Like they're in the most backwards country in the world, perhaps other than North Korea. Some of the smartest people on the planet, doctors and scientists and NASA engineers and just incredible people that come out of or are stuck there and have no choice, no ability to ascend the ladder. It's the complete opposite of America. And so a lot of people are actually very excited at the opportunity. What I am cautious about is, can they execute this in a clean way? You said no in our group chat.
Yeah.
My dad is optimistic that they can. He believes that they'll go after nuclear sites, they'll go after military bases, they'll go after the various pieces that will just cripple this regime. And also kind of like insider information is like, so there's the Revolutionary Guard. And that isn't some just like, you know, and that is the Islamic Republic's guard. But it's not like there's 100%, you know, backing of the regime. And there have been many times that there have been different coups happening, that people have been removed and fired or, you know, whatever. But Reza Shah's son, the Shah's son, has been working on a takeover in Iran for years, for a decade. And so there's a lot of things happening. There's the son of the Shah who's ready for a revolution. There's Bibi who's friends with him, so you can guarantee they've been talking and he's had the heads up for all of this happening. And there's the fact that the Sepah, as they call them, this Revolutionary Guard, is broken. And that a piece of it, at the very least, if things start to get chaotic, will turn against the regime, back the people, and revolution and coup. And so God knows, like, who knows how this is going to play out. But all you can really hope is that innocent civilian people do not get hurt along the way. Because this is not Gaza, like in the sense that this is just some piece of land that Israel has been sitting on and holding prison and can show up and do what it is. And that it was completely unacceptable. And anything remotely close to that would be completely unacceptable. If any civilian dies in Iran, it will reverse itself. It'll go completely the opposite direction. And like you said in our group chat, it's like, that would be really bad. Like, what if America has to get involved? And what if it spills
scariest
out?
part.
And
yeah, I mean,
yeah,
like,
there's a lot.
I hope they go after all the nuclear capabilities, because that's the card that, like, you don't want Iran to be able to play. And supposedly they're, like, weeks away from having some kind of capabilities. So you want them to deteriorate that. Hopefully they can do it without our help. And even if they need our help, hopefully we can help them covertly so that no one notices we helped, because we don't want to necessarily be publicly drawn into it to cause like a unnecessary escalation.
Yeah.
But I didn't know the part that you mentioned just now, that like the Shah's son
this is the big thing. The revolution had no leader, but if there was a leader, it would have been the son of the Shah.
No, well,
and
I guess I would ask you, like, would you be in favor of Reza Pahlavi taking over? Because, like,
oh, sure, because anybody needs to take over. It's just somebody that's not a fucking Ayatollah.
But I guess, like, I think I would just point out to people who don't know it very well, it's I would call it not so dissimilar from what we have in the United States, where there's like fractures in the alignment of who you support. Like I know, like even just within the Persians that I've met within Mina's family or whatever, there's people who love the Shah, people who hate.
No. He doesn't. He doesn't want to come, and he didn't even want to.
Oh, but even the Shah's son, I know people that want other factions. You know, like just
there is no other popular faction that has a chance right now. And what his role that he would play, according to him, you never know when someone takes over, is my role is to execute the transition of power. He shows up. He shows up with a temporary government, and after things calm down, the people vote for the particular style of republic or democracy that they want. So he would not be there to bring it back to a monarchy.
Does anyone know if this Reza is his name?
His name is
like Reza Pahlavi.
Yeah.
Pahlavi is his dad's name was also Reza Pahlavi, but his name.
So has he already made any public statements on nuclear power? That you guys are aware of?
No, but I did go to the march in Los Angeles. That's where he lives, and he showed up. But even at that march, there was it's kind of like this ideological difference between
there is because
Democrats and Republicans.
Against,
you know,
people
like,
were against the monarchy just as they are against, anything. Like there was that, but there's no other. The problem with the revolution that happened a couple years ago that was not successful is there's no leader. There needs to be a leader. So the Iranian people overall, to get to the point, want help. They want some kind of outside help. They want to do this. They tried to do it. They've tried to do it repeatedly, and they just keep getting killed every time they try. So my question is, like, where was Bibi then? Like, you had an opportunity. The country was like protesting like crazy, and you didn't show up and just like give them a bit of help. I don't know. There's a lot going on.
And I mean, like, if anything we've seen through this whole thing is that like they have so much inside intelligence into like if the Ayatollah, how many shits that guy takes a day. Like I saw something on CNN where an ex-president admitted that like they created this like counter Mossad task force, and the guy leading it was Mossad. Like he was like a double agent leading it. Like they are so infiltrated into what goes on there that like you would think he has the intelligence to know if there's a good shot or not at it. But anyway, they could go after their like ballistical missile sites, but I hope they go after their nuclear capabilities and like set them back a couple of years.
The thing is, like, whatever the public shows you, whatever politicians show you is 3 or 4 steps behind where they're actually at, right? Like that's always the case. So whatever we're being privileged with, there's a lot happening, and there's a lot that is known beyond this in terms of coordination, plans, what's really.
Hope they got another Stuxnet virus up their sleeve.
I do wonder, just like as a guy who doesn't follow stuff very much, like I wonder how, like Bibi says this stuff, how much does he really mean what he's saying, that he's like for the Iranian people? And then like also as like imagine that this does go down and it works and there's like a coup, and then they allow Reza Pahlavi to come back in, the son. Like are the Persian people and the Jewish people going to be like buddy because it doesn't feel that way.
It wouldn't be immediate, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But like, maybe they I don't know, start off with something light like diplomatic relations with Saudi Arabia, not with Israel directly. And they just kind of like slowly warm up over time. It wouldn't be immediate, right? But that would be progress. But I mean, like this revolution we're talking about is not like an easy military victory. Like just because Iran looks like they're throwing toothpicks at a giant right now doesn't mean that like, going in there and actually taking, and I don't know if Israel's thinking about taking control, but just like enabling a revolution. I don't think it's like as militarily.
Does Iran have the haymaker? Does Iran have the nuke?
Supposedly they don't, but they're very, very close.
I feel like that's such a thing that we've just. It's like something that I've heard being like on the fringes of news is that like North Korea doesn't have a nuke, but they're close. Iran doesn't have a nuke, but they're close. Like, doesn't this sound like bullshit?
That's a good
kinda?
point.
Yeah.
So Iran,
Saying the
before they
same
launched the ballistic missile strike against Israel, they let the U.S. and Russia know. And so one thing we haven't talked about is like just third party actors who have an incentive to keep an Ayatollah in power, and what would their moves be? And that's a wild card, which scares me because then we're talking about people who have lots of nukes potentially giving him power.
What do you guys think this just means generally? It's funny. It's been a crazy October, huh? What do you think this means generally for, how does this play out? I mean, I know I don't want to sit here and future predict too much, but I mean, this is obviously very concerning for a lot of people that this could be the beginnings of World War III. Like, this is how it begins.
Yeah, like
Can you just maybe,
Archduke Francis Ferdinand gets shot, and then
can
all
you
of a
maybe
sudden
just say like how World War III does begin? Because like
I think the way it begins is like one of these tit for tats becomes a tit for fuck you, and it just goes way too far.
tit for like a
and it's just like
face punch.
Yeah, and then the face punch is like, well,
here we go.
Here we go.
Yeah.
It takes one person to escalate too far.
God, I like.
And so it's about all combat should be de-escalatory.
I agree. But
no one wins with that.
When somebody I agree with you. When somebody escalates
You have
to
no
a certain
choice.
degree, then you have no choice but
You're
then to
drawn in.
respond.
So then it's too late.
And I don't know if this is my lack of knowledge, or if this is actually a good analogy. But I always I bring these skirmishes down to a level that I understand, which is like the playground.
Okay.
And when I do that with this conflict right here, I think of like the biggest, baddest dude on the playground is the United States, and then you got this other bad motherfucker over there, that's Russia, and then you got these like yapping dogs, and I often find that like the biggest dogs don't start the fights. It's the little yappers that like are the barkiest and the bitiest are like the little ones, and I kind of feel like that is North Korea, Iran.
All right, can I reframe your?
There's another component.
Yeah, go
to
ahead.
this.
You go.
I was going to say, if you're going to use a playground thing, there's the boy on the playground and his personality, and then there's the toys that he has, and so there's a difference between, like, right now, the way America is seen is not the biggest, baddest boy, actually, because our president is not scary. Our president said, don't, and they did. Our president said, don't a month ago, and they did. So it's who you are and the energy you put out and the game theory and all of that you play combined with the weapons that you have. And that is what creates how the other kids on the playground react.
Yeah. I mean, I'd reframe it a little differently. I'd be like, okay, who are the big boys? It's like anyone with nukes. Automatically, you're like the 8th graders on the playground versus like the 6th graders and the 5th graders. And that's why everyone wants to achieve that. That's why Iran and North Korea wants to achieve that, because as soon as you do, there's just like this level of respect that you get treated with. And that's the dynamic. And it's pretty straightforward. And
but the two most capable in terms of nuclear capability,
U.S.
and Russia.
Yeah.
And Russia's, you mentioned it a couple episodes ago, like 1,200 nukes or something.
7,000.
7,000 nukes. Like,
yeah.
Like, you don't have to be like
the most capable.
Like, you don't have to be more advanced militarily than the United States. If you have that many nukes, you just have enough. You just have enough.
Yeah, you just have a big dick.
You just have enough.
That's what it is.
Annihilate the Earth.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Before we get to our last topic, are we going to go the road not taken?
Sure.
I think we are. But before we do, let me give a shout out to Magic Spoon. So if you go to magicspoon.com/alfalfa, You check it out. There's $5 off the variety pack. And Magic Spoon is our favorite cereal. And part of this variety pack, you get the cocoa, the fruity, the peanut butter, and the frosted. This one has 0 grams of total sugar, 4 grams of net carbs, 13 grams of protein, and every serving's got about 140 to 170 calories. So if you like a healthy lifestyle, maybe you use ZBiotics and Magic Spoon to support that healthy lifestyle, keep the workout in the morning, and also eat a healthy lifestyle throughout the day. And maybe you want to not, give so much sugar to your kids. Magic Spoon is something worth trying. So if you go to magicspoon.com/alfalfa, use the code alfalfa at checkout. If you don't like it, they'll give you your money back. No questions asked. Thanks Magic Spoon for sponsoring the pod.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. Okay.
Where are we going next, Captain?
Well, we have this topic in the card called The Road Not Taken. And it's more about the road taken and these different crossroads in your life. And I think we wanted to just ponder between us, what are some of those roads, those like key decisions you've made in your life, and what might be the alternative reality? And I'll be honest, like when I saw this topic in the car, like all I could think about was like all the most terrible investments or trades not taken.
That's what you thought of?
That's all I could think of. I literally went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I was like, I'd have like
funny.
7 times the net worth. And
I went a completely different direction. My thought was exactly linear as you described, but it was about women.
Oh, okay.
Like women that I dated.
That you could have like gone down that path?
Damn, I could have I would have gone down this path or this path, and I'm I couldn't be happier.
The significant other path is interesting. And yeah, I think that's the easiest one for most people to go down, right? Like, what if you would have ventured off with this one or that one? Holy shit, thank God I didn't.
Dude, it's that one I think is easily tangible because you, like, a lot of people who dated prior to like finding their spouse or significant other, you like literally walked down the path, you like walked down the trail for a while, and you kind of like got a sense of what the trail feels like and looks like and who you become when you're walking down that trail.
What about like career opportunities or like moving? So you've moved several times.
Okay, so the second thing that I thought of right after significant others was career. And I've had like very clear ideas in my mind of what I wanted to do, but like in several different avenues, to the point where I feel like I can even picture myself. I can picture myself in the multiverse, like the different version of me that went down the other path. I can even see this guy, me.
And do you like what you see better than what you have now?
No, I think that where I'm at is I'm so it's gonna sound fucking cliche. I'm just very happy. I'm a happy guy. I'm very happy with where I'm at. I don't think there's anything that's like that exists that's perfect, and I think we can talk about that if you guys want to. But like, I think there are things that I can do still, or I would have done that could have improved my choices along the way. But I think that like, if you're talking about paths taken or paths not taken, I think I'm like very happy with my paths taken.
I mean, I could see some paths that were like slightly more optimal, but like you said, you don't necessarily know the challenges or the problems that like come along with those. You tend to romanticize the like paths not taken, right? Like they get like rounded up in your mind.
Can I ask you this? Like, do you guys feel like a lot of your paths taken at an early age? You know, like we met when we were in college, boys.
Yeah.
We were at SDSU. Like we were young men. Do you feel like a lot of the choices you made then were like what Robert Frost is describing? Like that's like the path that we embarked on, like from that early?
Even earlier, right?
Even earlier.
I do think so. Like, I don't know how many times I've taken the the road less traveled, like actually taken the non, you know.
Your life is mostly that. What are you talking about?
I think so. I mean, like in terms of like career, like, you know, kind of venturing off.
Career is entirely that.
Yeah, that which I'm happy with, but like I can definitely see within there, like, oh wow, I made this mistake, I made this decision.
Yeah.
But you know, like it was like 2014, we had like a acquisition offer being put in front of us, but I had to move to Orange County to take over.
I remember that.
To be like CEO of the acquiring company. And it started off like, oh, no worries, you guys can like, you know, stay in San Diego. Then I was like, oh, we'll need you up here like 2 times a week for some like important meetings. And then it was like, so when are you moving? And we're like, whoa, what are we talking about here? But,
yeah,
you know.
I need to go to bottle service at this club in San Diego.
Yeah, shit. I mean, yeah, I didn't have much tying me down, but like, I wouldn't have been able to maintain the friendships that we have. I wouldn't have met my future wife. Like,
didn't you almost go to Puerto Rico or something?
I mean, we visited Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands and even Austin to try to like decrease our tax liability, and nothing suited it more than just trying to make more money. To be frank, I don't know. Who knows how those would have
Making
turned
more
out?
money is always a pretty good answer.
Well, I mean, if I would have accepted that offer, it was most definitely had, you know, a lot more in my bank account. But there was this like choice that was put in front of us, like, okay, do you want to change your lifestyle? Do you want more?
Okay, so I'm not asking if you regret it, but do you look back on that decision and be like, what if?
There was a lot
That's an interesting question. Like, just to imagine it for the purpose of just.
I'm not saying regret.
Like, I think an interesting conversation is just talk about the things you've imagined for your life.
Oh, I've imagined
Even
that one.
purely for the play exercise of it. It's interesting, right?
I took the cash, took the higher salary, got in control of this company. Okay, what could I have done with the knowledge of that company? Like, how much money could I have made with just that, like, data that they had in the future? No, not necessarily there. And, like, also, like, what kind of optionality you would have had. Like, okay, you've moved to Orange County for a year, but you're running the show now. So, like, could you have been like, well, I'm moving back. Like, I've collected my check. I've taken the salary. I've done a good job for the first year. We're on a good path. Like, I'm going to go back to my lifestyle. And that like, you know, masturbatory scenario playing you know, plays out with me. Like,
it is masturbatory.
It is,
because there's no changing it or anything.
No,
it is.
I'm with you that, like, it's not like I sit around going like, oh, I should have made that decision or this decision. But I do think at the crux of it, a very important thing to realize, acknowledge, and accept is life is made up by your decisions. Your life is your decisions. Let's not complicate it. And anytime you're sitting around whining about what your life is, it's because of the decisions you made. Because the thing you control is the decisions you make and how you look at your circumstances.
Ooh, good one.
Everything else is your circumstances, things you don't control, things that happen to you. But that doesn't need to create your life. Your life is created by your free will, or at least your perception of it and the decisions you make, and how you view your circumstances.
Yeah, like how you show up. Like,
how you show up, yeah. And that's it. But I have sat and thought, and it's fun. I don't think about it often, but it's interesting to think about. So I think the first thing is, if you don't like where you're at, change your perspective, your lens, the rose, the tint through which you view life through, the angle, vantage point at which you view your circumstances, or change your decisions. Change the decisions you're making. You're probably making some shitty decisions. And you know what? That's okay. We've all made shitty decisions. It's okay. You can always start today. You can start today. That's the beauty of life. Today
can we talk about
different.
this for a little bit? Because I've been struggling with something.
Sure.
So, you look back at all the decisions you made. Like, I actually write down like my biggest money-losing decisions often, and I think through them. I write them down, kind of like as a journal. They're in like a little Notion card, and like anytime I have a bad one, I write down some of the wins too. But like mostly, I'm looking for like learning lessons. And like Peter Thiel had this thing where I think it was in like 0 to 1 where he talks about how we romanticize failure so much because like, oh, just keep failing because then you'll learn and you'll get better. But he talks about that the failure is always bad because the lesson you learn from failure A is not necessarily the lesson that you need to avoid failure B. Like oftentimes the lessons are completely new and unique to this situation. So it's not like if you fail 10 times, it's not like you're going to necessarily be great at avoiding failure number 11. And I find that with myself. So like if we just like silo this to like investment decisions, they were all like unique in the decisions I made, whether it was action or inaction. And I'm like writing down this log to try to learn from them, but I'm like,
can't extract anything.
I don't know if I can like create a new framework to make decisions going forward that would like help me avoid those things. And I'm in this like a mental loop where I'm like searching for the new framework that will help me avoid all those ones in the past.
Can I ask you, because I don't do any of this thing that you're describing, which is where you like look backwards on your decision making at the time. But I would imagine that because you're a smart guy, analytical guy, you approach these decisions with an amount of rigor that like you're not coming out of there like, oh shit, if I would have only thought of this. Like, so with any decision, right? Like you're coming up with like a probability of success and like a magnitude of success if the probability hits, right? Like it's any decision, particularly investment decision. So when you go back in that journal, I'm wondering what you see in there, because like if all you see is probabilities and magnitudes that you accurately defined up front, no problem. And if you were like a little off in your definition of the probability or magnitude, you're just using the data you had at the time.
But so you're saying basically keep making the same decision framework because like they'll keep working out. Like if your risk to return ratio is...
You're a smart guy. You're making the right decisions based on the data. If you didn't have enough data, then you can't make an informed decision. But if you have the data, you're going to make the right decision. So like, what are you going to look at?
I mean, that's a good point. And I think you're right because like over time it has worked out. Like just take a step back. Like, it's all good and great. But I do find that like in each of those decisions, there was like some emotional component.
So maybe there's a pattern. That's what you're trying to uncover.
Yeah, it's really hard to like separate
it might not be on
in
the
a moment.
surface.
And I've tried to create like a like a decision framework, like a series of questions I ask myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because sometimes when you like one behavioral bias you do is like this rule of thumb or like back of the napkin math, which can often like sway your expected value calculation. You're like, okay, well, back of the napkin, like it's a 10x. But like when you actually like have to write it out, you're like, oh, actually, shit, this is fucking 2x, and like this thing could go wrong. So I'm trying to find a series of questions that I can ask myself in these big financial decisions, like, should I buy a home or should I continue to invest in these apartment, complexes and just build up passive income? Is one that I like go back and forth, and I've continually cited on the real estate portion. But like, these are big decisions that affect your entire life and whether you'll have financial freedom or not. And I don't know. As we're talking about these like roads taken and not taken, I find this
Are you evaluating
actually really
success
hard
based on metrics or emotions?
Yeah, I mean, the success is like more like, did the number go up?
Return. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys, as we talk about the road not taken, do you guys have this thing where you actually envision yourself in like this other world, like as if you had taken this other road? Like, can you picture
Not
that?
often, but that's what I was hoping to do tonight.
So I do this all the time.
Yeah,
You do?
I don't.
All the time.
Yeah.
Like as like a GM of the Chargers?
Yes, that's one of them.
Okay. Walk me through it a little bit.
That's one of them. What if I pursued like the MTV dating shows and like went down that path and like, became like a reality TV
God, I'm so glad you didn't.
actor guy? Like,
Yeah.
what if that?
I love this. This is what I wanted to do.
And like, what if
It's
like
fun.
And what if you just like pursue these like little meandering trails that you took at some point in your life and just kept going on them? Like, do you guys not think about this?
Y'all, I actually do.
I want to.
There's a few, like, I was dating my now future wife, and it was like right in the first few weeks, it's Valentine's Day coming up, and a friend was getting married in Brazil, And I was like, shit, like, I really want to go to this wedding in Brazil, but like, I think this could be my wife. So like, should I want to keep the momentum going. Like, I want to like celebrate this like small Valentine's Day equation thing and keep it going. And and I did do that. I stayed home. I didn't go to it.
But there's the Brazilian girl.
or just
I'll
maybe
see it for you.
maybe you didn't meet maybe you didn't meet the Brazilian girl.
I'm saying it for him. I'm saying
no,
it for
but that's what I was
It's like
saying.
that he could have gone to Florianopolis. And there was this other path.
No, maybe I just went and celebrated, and then
saying
like, you know, things kind of. She's like, "Wow, weird.
Totally.
I thought this was
I
going
think to
well."
myself, what would it have been if I stayed in New York City and just became like a New
and
Yorker?
I like New York City, Armand.
I know.
Oh,
or what
New York
if
City,
I had
Armand's
moved
great.
to Bali and become a fucking like surfing instructor?
I think I would have liked that Armand too.
Yeah, like long hair surfing instructor.
Yeah.
You know,
Backwards hat, maybe.
Australian, you know,
Fuck yeah.
girls showing up needing lessons. Like, I'm here for you. I'm here. Or
You
whatever else.
are
or,
there for them.
or like photographer traveling through Africa and
I could have seen you
Asia,
doing like a
you know, Nat
travel
Geo.
vlog
Yeah,
guy. Like
yeah.
you could be epic at
Maybe
that.
still will. But like that. Though that is such an exciting thing to think about the alternate paths. It's really interesting.
God, my favorite version of you, honestly, is when you're traveling and like really removed from all the, what do you call them? Like the responsibilities of like the lives that we
I want
currently
him
live.
like I like the Anthony Bourdain version of Armand, where like his voice just becomes this like iconic thing in like
Yeah.
American culture.
And
like
you're-
the American bringing back like other cultures
God,
with
you're
his
so
voice.
poetic,
Yeah.
and
do
you,
this.
and you actually fucking love it. Like you
I think I
actually
need to
love.
do this. He was focused on food. I think I would do it just with people.
Yes.
Like it's just like the people version of Parts Unknown.
Okay, guys, we have a
love this.
special request from the chat. I don't know who this guy is, but his name is William Whittle. Never heard of him.
William Whittle.
But he says, "What up, fellas? How often, if you ever, do you use AI to help you make big life/career decisions and hopefully take the bias out of it? Loving these podcasts, catching up while burping babies at 2 a.m." So I guess like, have you guys ever like woven in some the machine?
Can we
into
say hi to William Whittle very quickly, like, and also congrats on a newborn?
Yes,
Absolutely,
huge congrats.
absolutely.
Huge congrats.
But yeah, this question obviously goes to Armand. I mean,
No, I'm actually more curious how you guys play it because my answer is really simple. I don't think without AI anymore. Like I literally write with AI. I brainstorm with AI. I consult it constantly. I am basically on a never-ending loop between Claude, ChatGPT, and Perplexity. Like everything I do revolves between those three apps, websites, platforms.
I've found it like I am.
And I sometimes will do the same thing on all three.
But like,
'Cause
what
I'm
about
not
life
satisfied.
decisions though? Like, I could get it if you're like, oh, hey, how do I solve this problem? Or what do you think about this issue? Can you give me both sides of the argument?
Because like we have life decision frameworks, and I will like upload those now and like use it to navigate
Oh,
what I
shit.
used to do for hours by hand with AI.
Okay, you're right. The first thing I did when I came up with like this decision framework was I was like talking to ChatGPT about it.
Yeah.
And like refining it, and then I eventually found
Yeah,
one.
and
So
I highly
I didn't
recommend
even think
Claude
about it.
for this kind of thing because it's just so much better at it. It's so
Wow.
much better at processing like complex documents with like multiple variables and helping you navigate decisions. It just has this edge there.
you guys are speaking so esoterically, and I'm leading into my own answer. I use it, BJ. I use it 0.0%
He also
of
thinks
the
it's
time.
the dumbest thing in the world.
Oh, I think it's retarded.
And he thinks, yeah, there you
No,
go.
but okay. Can I challenge that with like a genuine
No,
thing?
he won't accept this.
Because
No, I'm open.
one thing that's like changed is GPT specifically has memory, right? So like as
Okay,
you type,
no, hold on. Just to pause you there on the memory of
Mhm.
GPT, I played your game of asking the GPT, hey, based on my queries, what would you say my IQ is? And it gave me, well, I can't calculate IQ. And I was like, oh, you're still worthless.
okay, so maybe worthless in that regard, right? But like the point is that it knows about you now. Like I think we've talked about on this
It
podcast
doesn't.
long before how like having a therapist is like mental insurance because you're dumping into this like therapist, this person, this human being about your life over time, over like maybe like years. And then when something comes up, it knows
Yeah.
everything about you and
Let
you can
me-
just prompt it with a question. So You could use GPT differently. You could be
let me steel man, I guess, like your guys' position. I think the way that I use GPT is incorrect. Like when I go to GPT is like when I can't find the answer myself through my normal knowledge or Google or wherever I typically go, and GPT is like my last resort for like the hardest problems. I can't expect it to do that.
So fascinating.
If I'm being honest, I can't expect it to do that. What I should have it do is my very menial tasks, which I think that's what you guys do.
That's what I'm saying. I'm literally the opposite. I don't start without it.
Right. I think like I don't think I have as many menial tasks as you guys.
Just think of it as like, maybe not, but think of it as like the way I have been approaching it is like it's one of my fingers. I can't really take an action without utilizing all of my senses, my fingers, my whatever. It's a part of my thinking at this point. If you stripped AI away from me, I'm not just saying this to be cliche, it would be extremely painful. I feel like I would be going back 10 to 15 years in my capabilities of just like operating more not as a human being personally, of course, but as an operator in the business world. 10 to 15 years.
I'm going to continue.
I feel like that's how much I would
I'm going to
lose.
continue to steel man you guys, but I'm like going to also like degrade myself a little bit. Like I think maybe the differences in our worlds are like that you guys are like doing business that is like unknown to you. Like I wake up
constantly
4:30 a.m. by like 9 a.m. I've pretty much done everything. Like all my trades completed, everything done. Like, and I don't like for AI to be an 11th finger would slow me. Like it's so dumb that like it's awful. Like everything that I need is in here, and I just crush.
All right.
Mine's the opposite. Everything I do is new. I constantly need to consult something.
All right, so I was looking up examples that you might use this for. So, like, let's say I had this question. I said, Stanley Druckenmiller is bullish on copper and copper equities. What do you do next? Because my first thing was like, hey, give me a list of like all the copper equities by market cap. Okay, now if copper goes up, give me the ones that are impacted most by the prices. Which ones have the highest? Like,
agreed.
so how do you go about that? Because you have a different path.
No, I've actually gone down in that path, and what I found is that like when I Google it, I get way more accurate results than when I AI it. They give me the absolute worst results of all time.
Okay.
Like they can't even. It's so bad that I can't take it as reliable. It's a 0.
So I shouldn't have bought massive call options on Rio Tinto.
Just like a simple metric, be like, give me the top 3 largest by market cap, and it won't give it correctly. And I'll be like, okay, well, let me just look it up myself. And it's just so bad.
All right.
That's okay. We all adopt at different times.
But I'm not also, like, to steel man you guys again, I'm not sending an email to be like, hey, this or that. Like, you know, like, I don't do that. So like I'm only looking up like I think straight math.
You would actually be blown away if I could even pull the number of times a day that I use one of those 3 platforms I mentioned. Okay, let me try a guess. My guess would be 75. 75 times a day.
I'm not blown away at all. But I think you would be blown away at the amount of times that I've tried, and it gives me back absolute trash.
I get it. I will say, and I don't want to get too deep into this, prompting is an art.
Totally.
And science.
Right.
And as time goes on, prompting will become less important.
Yeah.
Because it'll kind of be done for you.
Right. No, like being a good Googler.
Being a good prompter.
Being a good Googler, being a good prompter, that's an absolute skill.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Sometimes like asking what the answer is the worst type of prompt you give it. It's like, give me both sides of the argument. Like, pretend you're in a debate and this person is this person, like actually give the people and like.
And I don't think I'm very good at it. My CTO co-founder Ian has told me a couple times. He's like, you are a very good prompter, because of the way you try to capture everything in a question. And I think that I don't know what that means, but I think it means something like, I'm looking for every vulnerability of where it might go wrong, and I'm setting boundaries on those. Which is actually what a great Googler used to be too.
Totally, and
So,
that was
but
like a
it's
great
much
skill.
more complex.
That was a great skill
it's
as
much
well.
more complex. It's so stupid sounding. It's very stupid sounding, but I don't even know what makes it good. But I think that's what makes it good. I would actually ask our technical people in our audience, like Eric Provencher. I'm so sorry, I can never
Puncher?
say your last name. Well, that was the abbreviated version of his last name. But Eric P. I believe in Montreal. Oh, is he in Montreal? I'm going to Montreal soon.
Damn.
Yeah, he's got this stuff on lock. And
What I
want to
be careful of, and I'll say this out loud, just because I want to be careful of it. Like, I don't want to become a guy whose identity is I don't use this shit. I hate this shit. Like, I actually want to use this stuff. It's just I found it not useful.
Okay, good, because I want the same thing for you. Like, do you find
too.
yourself like more on the like, you look at the diffusion of innovation. Like, are you like an innovator, early adopter, late adopter?
I'm always late. I'm always late. Guy.
It was like the same thing. He talked to us about that with crypto. He was very open about being
the last
mid
one.
to late to crypto.
Last one to that, of course.
So yeah,
because like the new model that like thinks through steps is pretty wild.
It is a preview.
Yeah, it's not even the real deal.
No, it's not a real deal at all.
Yeah.
We're seeing the early agents that are coming in 2025. The ability for it to go multiple steps of reasoning, and
I'm admittedly self-reliant on it now.
Yeah,
like,
I love it.
There's parts of me that could like think through some things, and I'm like, why would I do that?
My favorite part about this is how deflationary the whole thing is. It just gets cheaper and faster and cheaper and faster, and it's just so exciting.
I worry about my brain literally shrinking in size, turning to this like inactive gray matter. Because like at one point in your childhood, there was this portion of your brain that remembered all the phone numbers of all your friends.
Yeah.
Right? And then like whatever that part of that brain was just like not used anymore. Maybe it was used for other things. But like I'm feeling like most of like my prefrontal cortex is gonna like be outsourced.
But until
to this
there's
thing.
a symbiosis, an emerging of those intelligences, all you're doing is you're getting information more quickly, more rapidly, more broadly. You still have to memorize stuff. You're learning.
You learn way faster.
It's just a better internet, which a better internet was a better book and a better encyclopedia. It's encyclopedia, internet, ChatGPT. So what's the difference? You're just getting it all instantly, faster. That's it. You still have to learn.
I know we're getting off on tangents, but have you guys tried the Notebook LM from Google?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
We're making
What is
like
that?
Okay,
podcasts.
so
What's Notebook LM?
Okay, so basically it says create a notebook, and you can add sources to it. And so you add, let's say you want to learn about nuclear energy, and you add the energy department's new PDF, you add this tweet, this URL, you give it sources, and then you'd be like, then you can just have a discussion with it. But there's also like some advanced features which it can create if you want, instead of having to read this 40-page energy like letter from the energy department, you can just listen to like a 5-minute podcast of two people talking about it, if that's your preferred mode of learning. And so you click a button, and there's a podcast host and a commentator, and they discuss the topic of it throughout. They give summaries, they give conclusions, they ask questions, they give answers. It is mind-blowing.
You can design
95% as good as like a human podcast.
But you can design not only a podcast, you can design your own way of learning, is what you're saying. Like, I can ask it, I can dump the data and be like, give me a 10-question pop quiz based on all this stuff.
Like, I feel so confident now that if you gave me a subject I didn't know about and you gave me 1 hour, like I could level up enough to have a conversation with you to know if you're bullshitting me or not on the topic.
What's it called? Google Notebook?
Notebook LM and Google. So you go like, I think it's like notebooklm.google.com. It's, you have your normal Gmail account, and I
think the thing that helps people cross the chasm is finding their killer use case. Maybe this is it, maybe it's not, but eventually you'll come across a killer use case that for you in your world is just like, holy shit. For developers, it's like, oh my God, Cursor just took 80% of my workload. Like my team, they're just like blown away by Cursor. They're just like, this is incredible. It's doing so much of my work, and now I get to play God and just like move things around and edit and look at it and review, and it's just doing all the heavy lifting. In your world, there might be a different version of that.
Of course.
And when that comes, it'll be like mind-blowing.
Keep in mind, I'm only talking about the versions that I've used, which is like this chat element, which is like so rudimentary compared to where we're
Yes.
going. So like,
Yeah.
I'm not writing it off. I'm just saying that this
I
version.
know. And to be honest, I wish I knew, but I don't know enough about your world. But like, for example, in the legal world, there's like great AI tools. In the manufacturing world, there's great AI tools. So I just don't know what it is for the trading, money management world, if there is something like that. But
No,
use
but
it all the
people
time.
are
It's literally awful.
So just so you know, the phase we're in, Claude, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Meta's model Llama. These are just frontier models. These are base foundational models. The world that we live in from a startup perspective now is vertical AI SaaS. So what that means is that every builder is building specifically for verticals. So there are probably 50 really cool hot teams right now that are building specifically for your vertical. So if you could find who those teams are and what those products are, I can guarantee you they've got freemium or cheap products that are basically maybe not wrappers around ChatGPT, because that's an overused, that's not exactly accurate anymore. But they're basically building a vertical solution with a user experience that's designed for your use case, and it's going to be killer. And if you can find what those are, they will take that thing you do from 4:30 to 9. I guarantee a lot of that can start to get automated if you find what those tools are.
I think like the normal person's like use case is tough, because what you want to do is like, here's my Schwab account. Like, this is what I got going. Okay, now I want to know about this. And you want to have all the context that you do. And you might want to have all the Bloomberg data that a Bloomberg has. But it doesn't really, there's no easy way to do that. And like the Notebook LM thing from Google is like a start of that. It's like so easy to just feed it data sources and then just like dive into it and go into it. Side note, when we were on the beach in Maui, I found like such a good little idea that GPT wrappers do so much better than like the previous legacy versions. There are we found these weird birds on Maui, and I took a picture of it and I just sent it to GPT, and I was like, hey, what bird is this? And it instantly got it, like with 100% accuracy, and then we're terrible pictures from far away. And all I said was like, here's a picture, I'm in Maui, what's this bird?
Wow.
It was super accurate. So I was sitting on the beach when you said, hey, what are you up to? I was like, oh, I'm on the beach relaxing. I wasn't relaxing. I was diving deep into the revenue models of bird identification apps on iOS. And there are some that make like tens of millions of dollars a year.
No way.
With that, before, it was really hard to do this data, right? You had to like catalog all the birds and like do this image matching thing and like
manual matching.
All this shit. And now it's so easy. You just literally send a picture in, and the thing responds with the exact
this is
answer.
For bird watchers.
Bird watching.
So this reminds me of...
It's a huge industry.
It's huge. It's a massive market, I realized.
Massive market.
Yeah.
Massive.
Crazy.
I had no idea.
Bird watchers. Okay. I had this, like, makes me think of something, but it's about me.
Okay.
So the bird watching, I think of like AI, like helping you watch birds. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not a birder. Okay. You're an entrepreneur, right? So I think of like Michael Jordan is the best basketball player that's ever lived. Like, I don't think Michael Jordan is going to ask ChatGPT how to get better at basketball and have glean much from ChatGPT at basketball. Michael he's better than that. But what he can get help with is like what bird to look at, or like what bird he's looking at. So what I'm trying to say is, I think I'm using ChatGPT incorrectly because I'm trying to use it for work. Like my work, I don't need fucking this idiot's help for what I'm doing.
No. But Michael Jordan could use it.
No way.
Yeah. So let's say like his coach is trying to like institute a new offense, right? And he doesn't agree with it, and he's trying to persuade this guy, and he's just like running into roadblocks. Like GPT's new model is like extremely high on persuasiveness. So he could be like, hey, this is my coach. This is what he's saying about this offensive model. I disagree. I want to convince him of this. Give me his argument. Okay, now that you outlaid that, like, give me the best arguments against that would actually persuade this person. And you will find it is...
Can we keep going on this?
Yeah.
Because
that's good.
I'll keep going on this because when I've used ChatGPT just to use this example, I would say, how often has my opponent like thrown the ball into the low post versus like going for an outside 3-pointer? And it would say they've gone in the low post 127% of the time. And I'm like, well, that's just not even possible. You're so dumb. Like this thing.
Did you tell it that?
Did you
so useless.
He somehow is able to break it.
This
You're
thing's
able to
so
break
useless.
All right. Well, I'm gonna give you my login.
I'll give you my chat history.
I pay for
bro.
it. I pay for this thing I don't even use.
Oh, you're paying now.
All right, guys.
It reminds me, I should probably cancel.
Anything else we should touch on since we went on a tangent from the road?
Well, the road not taken. Yeah, that was a good one.
I like the tangent.
I do think about that, but I'd like to think about it more. I think it's romantic. It's a romantic idea.
I think it's like romantic.
But is it I guess I do have a couple questions. I just want to close on that topic. I don't feel like we fully. So, like, is it good to think about? Like, can it be healthy?
Arguably severely unhealthy.
Arguably unhealthy,
Yeah.
for sure. I think it's more clear that it could be unhealthy because then you start regretting your current position
Well,
in
is
life. But
it-
can it be good?
I mean, is it unhealthy to just ask what if?
That's my question.
Is that unhealthy?
No, but
like,
can it
in
be
itself?
good? What is good about asking what if? What is good about thinking about
Well, I mean,
alternate
I don't know,
pathways?
You would probably not tell your daughter to like squash her imagination like from the beginning. Like I think this is like it's just like using your imagination to like play out a scenario. It's fun. It can just be enjoyment.
I find the crossover from when it becomes like interesting in a scenario playing to like unhealthy is when I catch myself like thinking about it too much and I'm like, no, what you need to think about is like the next move, like the decision in front of you, the potential decision in front of you. You're focusing on like all these things where you went right on this one and went left on this one and you're like cycling them in your head, but like no, you need to be focused on like these ones. It's okay if you consciously take an hour to review those ones and be like, okay, this is what I learned, this is what I didn't learn.
Yeah.
And then you have to like shut it down because you could get caught up in like, no, there's actually some opportunities or challenges I'm facing now and I need to fucking act and decide on those.
I actually, I'm going to take a firm stance here. I think it's actually very good to do this.
To do the retrospective?
The exercise of saying what if is like really beneficial, I think. And the way I'm going to say this is like, it's like Armand, you like playing soccer. That's like something you enjoy. There's also other things in life that you have enjoyed that you were like walking down the path of where you probably played out a scenario where it's like, yeah, that could be fun. Now you watch a soccer game and you like see that game a little differently through the eyes of a guy who's walked down the path a little bit. And like, that's like beneficial. I think it's like cool to be able to like experience life having gone through that trail a little. And that's better. Like that's better than just being like, I don't know, I've never done it. I don't know.
You're talking about tasting.
And like your life is something that you've done and we're all sitting here, we accept ourselves. To have tasted something else, only beneficial.
Yes, if you've tasted it. But oftentimes people are thinking about the things that they didn't ever taste and regretting that. And thinking about the pathways that they could have or should have. And there's this just could have, should have, could have, should have, could have, should have.
Some people talk about this regret minimization framework, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And what I find interesting about that is like, if you go into the coulda, shoulda too much, it can definitely create depression. And depression comes oftentimes for some people from that obsession with past events and how they should have gone or how they did go. And like sitting and thinking about that too much can be unsettling, which is not what you're talking about. I'm just kind of taking it.
No, but I am interested in this. And I'm wondering, like, it's going to sound really fucking naive, but like how does one feel that? Like, how does one feel regret? Like, I don't regret anything. I don't think.
Regret is...
What do you mean? What if you had stayed in Australia?
Sure. But like
regret is sitting there and wondering if what I had and if I had done differently would have been better.
But I don't think that is actually regret because maybe that's how people feel regret, but I don't like. There's
You
many.
just said you haven't felt it. So
yeah. Maybe that's how people feel
how people
regret.
feel it.
But I don't think that's fair. So to people who feel regret, I think
Fair
that's,
to who?
that's unfair to yourself.
Okay,
because
well,
like
that's good.
Because
Yeah.
like you don't know the outcomes of these things. Like you're taking decisions based on limited information. You have to give yourself grace. Like, listen, you're not going to always choose the best outcome every time. And like, if you're going to be mad at yourself every time that you don't fucking get it perfectly right, like, and that's regret, like, I think you're doing it all wrong. Like, I think what you should do is like, you see where you are now and be like, damn, it's pretty good. Life's great. And, like, think of all the good things you have. And like, that's like a easy way to like not feel regret.
I think you're so right, dude. And I'll give an example from my world really quick because I think it's important. Like I have such an incredible, beautiful wife, and every man sits and whether they want to talk about this or not, I will, and sits and thinks, what would life have been with a different woman, right?
Absolutely. When you were in the bathroom, that was the first thing we talked about.
Okay, I missed it. So you sit, and this particularly happens when a man, or by the way, this applies to women with men as well, but I can speak more, soundly about this perspective. So you meet somebody, meet a girl, let's just say. You're out with your boys, or you go to an event, and you meet this girl. You talk to her for 5 to 10 minutes, and you start to imagine and think to yourself, oh my God, she has all these things that my girlfriend doesn't have, my wife doesn't have, and how interesting, how exciting, how dynamic. The fact is, the moment you actually get to know this person, and you will find this as soon as you really do get to know them, they come with so much goddamn baggage that you are ignoring because you're high on what? You're high, your brain is high on the chemicals of desire, of love. It's not even love, it's just like it's pure it's literally your brain on drugs. There's an author, Stanley Tatkin, I believe is his name. I might be butchering it, but I'll look it up. And he has these incredible books on relationships and love. And he talks about how your brain just gets so hijacked when you're initially in that honeymoon phase with somebody. Honeymoon phase can last years. I'm talking about when you first just meet somebody and you start to like brainwash yourself into thinking this person is actually good for you and they're exciting and all this stuff. And I learned 13, 12 years ago that this is absolutely nonsense, that this person comes with so much annoying stuff that you have no idea at all until you begin to get to know them. Just spend another hour with that person at the bar, and I guarantee you'll begin to find all these things that are so annoying that are not worth it. And that question of like, did I take the right road, will immediately, so what you come down to is you realize actually a relationship is not a game of optimization of what is closest to 100% of my ideal person. It's actually how much can I show up to a relationship and give to them to get the best out of them. That's what a relationship seems to come down to. Because there's always going to be, especially in a Hinge and Tinder world, a little bit better in this department, a little bit better in that department. But that is absolute nonsense. And I think that when people think about this topic of like the road not taken, they often think about the relationship they're in. Oh, if I had just been with a woman that was a little less snarky, a little less this, a little hotter, a little more that. It's not worth it. Commit and give to that, and you will receive tenfold, is what I
like that.
Feel that I have learned over time, at least. So I don't know. What do you?
I think of love very similar to you. I think of it as like to use your parlance, like how much can each of you show up as your 100% authentic selves, see each other for that, and still admire, respect, and cherish each other for that?
You're most specifically talking about like the problems, the challenges, right? Like, can you still?
Yeah, I mean, like what you mentioned, Armand, is like, you know, you meet somebody in the first hour and you don't know like the bullshit that they got, or like how even forthright
their
they're being with
quirks
their
and,
how even
real-
forthright this like vision of them that you're seeing is like actually authentic.
Because everyone's wearing a mask.
Totally. But like when you get down to like the nitty gritty, 13 years of love, like there's nothing left to hide. You're bare to your like your soul. And I feel like if you can get to that point with somebody where you're both just like stripped down to the basics and you're just like, still love you and you still love me and it's fucking cool. Like
it goes to what we talked about 2 episodes ago, which is like the foundation of the relationship is trust and respect. And it really is, because if you don't have that, you're going to quickly get distracted by looks, by connection, and a fresh connection with somebody. Nothing in the world beats that.
Feels so good.
It's incredible.
Yeah, that's like a drug.
Like that's what I'm saying. Your brain is on drugs.
Yeah.
And that drug is a true drug, and it's going to dry out and rot and kill you if you think it's real. And so many people fall into that trap of thinking like, oh my God, this is different. This is real.
Addicted
and it's
to
like,
the drug.
Nah, you're full of shit. Just like, you know, not that the person is full
No,
of
but
shit.
it's very easy to
means,
get
like,
addicted to the
yeah,
drug.
it's just like you're addicted. You're falling for it. It's like, no, you know what's hard? Dedicating yourself to somebody. You know what's hard? Being a mature man and overly, repeatedly, over time, year after year, committing and loving somebody.
How about bearing
That's what's
yourself
hard.
authentically, like fully bare? Like how about seeing somebody in their fully bare state and being like, still cool,
and still loving them, and still seeing them, and still accepting them? Yeah, exactly. And by the way, when the mask comes off, which it always does, that's shocking. That's shocking. Can you still love that person? Can you still accept that person? We all put on a front. It's not like I didn't put on a front. I put on my best fucking self for years. That's what we all do, and we all try hard in the beginning.
Like to your points, both of you guys, I remember you saying this. Like you should strive to continue doing that, right? Day one energy.
Yeah, that was what the topic was.
Day one energy. Bring your best self always. Try to continue doing that.
And my argument actually is like that mask that you wear. We all wear masks, and the moment you think that you shouldn't be wearing a mask is, I think, the moment you actually missed the game. The game is actually a game of masks in life. That's not dishonest. That's real.
Good one.
You wear a mask at work. You wear a mask in your relationship. You wear a mask with your parents. They're different versions of yourself. Don't lose it. Actually, what loses the relationship is like you get too comfortable. You get too casual. You're just, oh, I'm taking my mask off. I'm just going to be the real me now. I didn't fucking sign up for real you. You suck when you're like this.
Hold on,
and that's
hold
what
on.
happens. All of a sudden, it's just like the other person's like, I didn't sign up for this. So my argument 2 episodes ago was keep a bit of that effort, which we could call AKA a mask.
Yeah, it is a mask.
Keep the effort.
Yeah, you
It's
have to.
effort.
You definitely
and you
have
keep it,
to.
and it only benefits the relationship.
I actually feel like this is a good Von Deeper segment. Is like mask versus authenticity, and like what's the right allocation? Because I don't think that anyone would agree that you should be masked all the time.
Yeah, this is a topic Robert Greene has talked a lot about. I don't know where you're at with 48 Laws of Power. Did you finish it?
3/4 of the way through.
So he talks a lot about this in Laws of Human Nature. He talks about this a lot in Laws of Seduction, and in 48 Laws of Power. And I'm currently on the laws on seduction, and it's just phenomenal, man. He breaks apart all of your ideas of like thinking that authenticity is actually like a good thing. He completely shatters it. No one wants authenticity. You want authenticity.
No, I want
I
authenticity.
used to be so big on authenticity. until Robert Greene like really
I want a
has
full
shattered that
segment
for
on
me.
this because I'm not
Yeah.
going to be satisfied.
The thing that did it for
ending
me
here.
was Laws of Human Nature. That really
Okay, so I'm
shattered
going to
it
read
for
that
me.
and I want to
Yeah.
revisit.
Yeah. Anyway, we're like 4 hours into this.
Yeah.
So
You already got to take a bathroom break. You're recharged.
yeah. Let's wrap her up.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us again. Like the video if you haven't already. And reminder, a call to action. If you're a loyal member of this community, we have some members that are really having a tough time with Hurricane Helene. So if you can, donate to the PayPal. Armand, can you remind us of the email address?
Alfalfa pod, P-O-D, @gmail.com.
Yeah. We'll forward all those donations.
Yeah, and we'll match them too. So throw them in there, and we'll match them. We want to get them out to some of our longtime loyal community members who are getting effective. So if you can, please do. We definitely encourage it, and we want to help out. So
that.
check that out. Otherwise, we will see you guys next time. Thank you for joining us. We love you guys lots. See you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Peace.